the lioness to tell her own story.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. But people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari live it. Hey, the lion's voice. Rastafari.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the Lion's Voice.
This is Mama Thea of Asli Pure, and when I want to hear the story from the lion and the lioness, I listen to Lion Voice with Ras Kwasi Bonsu.
Greetings, I'm Sister Aisha Diana Conwood, currently the Assistant Commissioner of Agriculture for the U.S. Virgin Islands. Time for the lioness to roar. You know, this is the lion's voice. Lioness, let's roar, lion pour.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Lion's Voice. Now put it, I Jalifa said that.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the Lion's Voice.
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion Voice.
Jano, I'm so hungry, bro. I haven't eaten all day. Like, my head started to hurt me too. Like, what more could I eat right now?
What about a city samosa?
Get your samosa, a fusion of Indian, Jamaican, and African culture. City samosas, the best samosas in the city.
She's like the flowers in my garden, and her heart has never hardened, and she give me loving in the morning. Babylon, you are go far without no warning. Black woman, I said I wanna be your lover, and I don't want any other. You alone, I could have be my children's mother. But no struggle, so we both could help each other. And then I wanna be your lover, and I don't want any other. You alone, I could have be my children's mother. But no struggle, so we both could help each other. Started in the village, now we in the city. Journey where we have together, everybody see. Spent a little time out in captivity. Babylon, their plan was to destroy the family. Still I want you to bring a child for me. Maybe in the spring when birds are sing lovely, maybe we could plan to have a summer baby. I can be the man that you depend on. Put the pen to the paper, made a love song. Babylon, they separated us for so long, and the reason that they hated us was so wrong. Still the most High He created us, we so strong. Then same Kushite and the Dogon, love your melanin, no follow for them program. Black woman, me not go pass on you for no one. No one, that's my slogan. Black woman, I said I wanna be your lover, and I don't want any other. You alone, I could be my children's mother. But no struggle, so people could help each other. Then I wanna be your lover, and I don't want any other. You alone, I could be my children's mother. But no struggle, so people could help each other. She's like the oxygen in my flame, loving where we have nobody can contain. Love so powerful, survive shackle and chain. Love it cross the ocean way before planes. Love survive them torture, rape and dear pain. When one escape, then the other get blame. That's why I never put no one above you. That's why I'm not ashamed to say I love you. That's why them dirty Babylon, they judge you. Feel the power when I kiss and when I hug you. Hold you for hours when I think about how they grudge you. I'm a lion, so I never gonna bug you. No, I just wanna be your lover, and I don't want any other. You alone, I could be my children's mother. But no struggle, so people could help each other. Then I wanna be your lover, and I don't want any other. You alone, I could be my children's mother. But no struggle, so people could help each other.
What do you have to tell the people about Ras Tafari?
Light to the world. King of kings and the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. I like himself. Where's right for ruler? Hey yo! Eli! Hail them high, hail the black king on the 23rd of July. So tell them guy who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your night. From ancient time them a try. Them Romans know them just up in them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them comes without them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill the lion we come conquer Judah tribe. Go through tribulation, I strive, see sufferation, I still rise. That's why we tell them in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come to tell them in a Toronto, straight at it. Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Chazmach Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of this special edition of Lion Talk Live. Welcome to Lion Talk Live and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where tonight the lionesses are telling their own story. Special edition This one is going to be historic. All of the panelists are here. And I want to just give thanks to all of the Lion Pride. If you subscribe, you're part of the Lion Pride. 32,000 worldwide have become part of this movement, this uprising, and it's proof that unfiltered, unwatered down Rastafari, unapologetic Pan African content can work in the modern space. And we are not going to stop. This is just the beginning. So big up all the Lion Pride. We just had Selassie join from Australia. Lion Pride in an Australia family. Man, I tell you how serious the thing is getting right now. Big up yourself, Selassie, our latest Lion Pride and Patreon member. Tonight, we talk about Empress Menen, the life, the legacy, the impact. We are going to be going into a story, the narrative, of our divine Empress. We have a panelist that is unparalleled in terms of the assembly, inspired by Kadamawi Haile Selassie the first, Empress Menen. And this is part of the legacy. We want to be able to do this live and have all of the people live and stream it, but we have to start where we are. So we are streaming virtually. I'm not going to take too long. The item know say I get excited. This is Zion on Earth for I know. So you're just going to see pure teeth and my little square, because trust me, I'm in heaven right now, and we want to manifest this all over the earth, family. All of these are my sistren, and some of them have never met each other, but the energy already is electric. Me I tell you them the truth. Big up my producer, Shireen Bonsu, who will be assisting dealing with the back office or the forward office. Big up all of the people who helped to make this possible. Big up the Association of Rastafari Creatives who have sponsored this event, shared it out on the platform. We do have a general interest and update meeting this Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Association of Rastafari Creatives. Again, family, we are mobilizing, we're gathering, we're not complaining about what was or what is not. We are coming together to move forward within our strength. And this channel is just a portal to that uprising. So, without any further ado, the item no office support the thing, and we'll get to that at the end. I want to get into this panel. Without further ado, Lion Pride family globally, help I to welcome the second annual Empress Menen Day panel. And we also want to let ones know that today we also celebrate the ascension of His Imperial Majesty to the throne of Ethiopia, April 3rd. On April 2nd, Empress Wadie passed away, according to the autobiography, and it was April 3rd on Empress Menen Earthstrong that, His Majesty ascended to the highest seat in the realm, a journey. So tonight we're going to tell the story. I'm going to ask each of the panelists to introduce themselves. We're going to start with Jahzani. We're going to go across down. We're going to open up with who is Empress Menen will be the first question. We'll have everyone introduce themselves. Sister, I'm going to ask each of you each question. Feel free to jump in. If it's not your area, feel free to keep it moving. Also, I want every sister to know that if there's a topic or something that the item want to just bring up, we're reasoning. So feel free to let it go where it goes. We are riding the heavens. Get your ital snacks. Get your meditation together. Family, we're going way up. All right. Now, Jahzani, please introduce the thyself.
Rastafari blessings. I am Jahzani Kush. I am the founder and CEO of Lalabella Institute. I'm also the founder of the Blue Fire Order of Empress Menen Roundtable, which is the first sorority for Rastafari Women. I am also the author of Between the Fire and Ice, which is my latest work, which is a Rastafari love story. I am the author of Blue Fire, The Ascension of the Jah in Rastafari. And I'm also the author of Roaring Lionesses, Rastafari Woman, Journeys of Self-Liberation. Haile Selassie I and Empress Menen Roundtable.
Rastafari. And we're going to benefit from, because we're going to do a deep dive tonight into the spiritual aspects. We have a prophetess with us, so we're going to ask her to share that deep spiritual knowledge. Empress Sinai, please introduce yourself.
Greetings, Rastafari. My name is Sinai Fleary, and I am the founder and editor of Just Jar magazine, which is a Rastafari magazine and social media platform. I'm also an award-winning journalist, and I currently write for The Voice newspaper in the UK, which is Britain's only Black national newspaper. And I'm also a broadcaster and workshop facilitator.
Give thanks. And let me just give a special big up to Empress Sinai. She's in the UK, so right now at 1 o'clock in the hours. She did take a nap because she's battlefield tested, That is what I love about this panel. All of these sessions are battlefield tested, I tell you them. All right, Dr. Asantewaa Oppong Wadie, please introduce yourself.
Greetings, blessings, and love to everyone. It is really an honor to be on this panel this evening, and I give thanks for the invite. My name is Asantewaa Oppong Wadie, and I'm the founder of Empress Menen Day Chicago, an annual celebration of the life and legacy of Empress Menen in the city of Chicago. Likewise, I am the editor of Empress Menen Chronicles, which is a book which chronicles the life of Empress Menen, details her contributions, as well as highlights the voices of Rastafari women. I think that's where I'll leave it. There's a lot more to say, but I'll leave it there.
Okay. Give thanks. Big up. Also, we have straight out of Trinidad and Tobago, Empress Dionne, representing for Empress Menen Rising, one of the most powerful collection of sisters right now. I'm working collectively. Empress Dionne, just unmute yourself and introduce yourself. Just unmute yourself. Let me see if I Bingy. Got you.
Blessed love. My name is Empress Dionne. Give thanks for being here. I'm a part of the Women and Empress Menen Rising.
Short and sweet, or is the Wi-Fi?
Bless.
Okay, short and sweet. All right. We're gonna work it out. Anytime we have a big moment on this channel, Wi-Fi the guy like to show himself and make a little thing. But we're gonna work through. How we like to bubble the pot. You see, Wi-Fi the guy. We're gonna work it out. Empress Dionne will be forward. Next we have someone that I know most of the item are familiar with. Powerful. I say she's one of the greatest songwriters Jamaica's ever produced. And I not take back that talk. Janine, please introduce yourself.
Greetings, my beautiful sisters, and greetings to everyone who is listening in. It is a pleasure to be among such a well-celebrated and accomplished group of women on such an auspicious occasion. I am Janine. I am a creative, multidisciplinary artist. I am so many things. I am a mother now, which like trumps everything. And I am a songwriter, producer, yoga instructor, wellness professional, etc., etc. But I am truly honored to be here among the item. And blessed love, my brother, as well, and to everyone.
Yes. Powerful. Give thanks. And then we have one of my first supporters in the Lion Pride and Patreon, my traveling partner when it come time for conference and Rastafari work, my battlefield sister. Dr. Wolete, please introduce thyself. Unmute.
Greetings and blessings in the names of the Divine Majesties, Kadamawi Haile Selassie I and Empress Menen Asfa. Blessed I Liberation Iowa to everyone. Greetings to everyone on the panel and everyone listening. So I am Dr. Wolete Beresford. I am the chairperson for the Universal Development of Rastafari, IDOR. And I am an author of 3 books. The first book I wrote on His Majesty's mother, Guragi, the story of a willow princess, Yeshimabet Ali Abba Jafar. My second book is on the observation of the matriarchal shifting that I've seen within the Rastafari movement, and it's entitled Charting the Matriarchal Shift in the Rastafari Movement, Reclaiming a Divine Heritage. And finally, my third soon-to-be-released book, Sacred Vessels, Rastafari Women as Living Sanctuaries. I live in the Washington, D.C. area, and I am a librarian. Give thanks and Isaac. So I pray thee, I'm also the owner and the founder of Yeshimabet Books and Things in Baltimore, Rastafari.
Give thanks. And if you want to dress better than Dr. Wolete, you're going to have problems in your life. Don't put that problem on yourself, family. Don't do it to yourself. All right. So I really give thanks. We're going to jump straight into the topic. The first question we're asking is, who is Empress Menen? I want to paint the picture. Typically, we ask our guests to step in the time machine. So we want everyone collectively, let us step into the time machine. We have academics. We have just ones who have studied the life of the Empress. Feel free to add whatever you would like in this, the narrative of her story. But I feel on her earth strong, her story must be told. So we'll start with the IRASS, Dr. Jahzani Kush. Who is Empress Menen?
Empress Menen Asfa is the Jahess who keeps coming forward. You know, she is a Jahess of ancient times, of ancient Kush in particular. And so her energy, even though I would see her as new in this dispensation, her energy is an ancient one. Her energy is one that is always paired with the Lion King. So it is no surprise that, you know, she is married, or she is the royal consort of the Lion of Judah. She is the creatress of I as Rastafari woman, as Rastafari people. You understand? So when I look at Empress Menen, I see her from an energetic perspective, from an iridical perspective. You know, many ones, I see a lot of ones today on Facebook and social media. They had a beginning date and then they had a seal up date. Well, for I, the Empress is ever living, ever faithful, ever sure. We don't refer to her in the past tense. You understand? So she is the Rastafari mother of Iration. That's who she is.
Give thanks. Empress Sinai. Who is Empress Menen?
Empress Menen is the ultimate role model for Rastafari women. She's the perfect example of what it means to be a queen, what it means to be an empress. She was referred to as His Majesty's most trusted advisor as well. And I think that is a perfect example of how important she was and the sort of things that she contributed to His Majesty, but also to her country. You know, she was very much a people person, very much for supporting the next generation of Ethiopian girls and children. And I just see her as like what Rases Jahzani said, is that she is referred to in the present tense. You know, she's ever living. She lives in each and every one of us. And I think that's what we aspire to be like. So Empress Menen is everything.
Give thanks, give thanks. Dr. Asantewaa Oppong Wadie. Who is Empress Menen? And I want you to take me to Wallow, you know. I want to go to Wallow. All right.
Okay. Well, if not this time, we will go there this evening.
All right. In time.
Yes, so I need to say that my work is as a historian. I teach as a historian on the college level. And like most, you know, my introduction to Empress Menen through Rastafari circles was limited, right? And what I'm doing now as life work came when I uncovered her archival files. I wasn't expecting to find them, but I did find them. And so the arguments that I'm going to make are historical, but not limiting. I would argue that they don't limit. But here's the thing that I want to say. I have heard, and it is also in Empress Menen's biography, people say things like Empress Menen is related to the Prophet Muhammad. And I'm not going to agree or disagree with that. I'm just saying that this is said, right? But Empress Menen has no direct quotes that I have been able to find saying that she and the Prophet Muhammad are related. But what she does say on repeat occasions, in some of her most powerful interviews during the war years and thereafter and before, she says, I am a descendant of the Queen of Sheba and Cleopatra. Now we know that there are several queens of Sheba, that is a title, but I think most likely she's referring to Makeda, the Queen of Sheba. And then we further know that there are several Cleopatras, but most likely the one that is most known to us and that we can just say commonly Cleopatra, and that person comes to mind, that is Cleopatra the Seventh. Now, I do not hold that she was delusional. I do not hold that she was not historically sound. You know, I have caught a lot of flack on this journey for saying that she is a descendant of Cleopatra. I have to even say that family members of hers have said, you know, don't repeat that. But she said that. That's how she introduced herself, right? And I think that in introducing herself that way, especially in her sit-down interviews, she is not just looking for gravitas or for someone to take her important or serious. I feel that she is also saying that this is what you can expect of me. The great wives of the Nilotic time and of Nilotic Egypt, of Nilotic Sudan or Kush, I am going to do what they did. My work will be similar to them. Hold me up to the template that you pull Amos Nefertari, right? Because I am going to do that same work. So all great wives, all divine wives of the Nilotic time in Egypt and in Kush had great works that they did, monuments that they left, and Empress Menen did exactly that. All divine wives repaired the critical structures that were symbols of the greatness of the country and the time that they were in. And Empress Menen did exactly that. So I'm saying that we can comfortably say that in Empress Menen, unequivocally, we get this huge connection to the Nile. Sometimes when you hear and read the words of His Majesty, you can get a connection. But all the time, when you go to Empress Menen, she makes that concrete. She makes that it's out front. It's not hidden. It's not implicit. It's explicit. And therefore, I would argue, and this is my last point, that she is saying, expect of me the same equivalent greatness that you are expecting of my husband. And if I can interpret here, she's one that comes with a government upon her shoulders. Do you understand? She had an order. She was sent here to establish, and that's what she was introducing. And her name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Almighty Goddess, and the Princess of Peace. Give thanks.
Okay, that's how the eye trotting it tonight. All right. I hear the eye. Somebody's gonna take me to Wallow. I think my sister hopefully will take me down a Wallow. Empress Dionne, please unmute and tell us who is Empress Menen. We're gonna work through the Wi-Fi family. You know that Wi-Fi, the guys sometimes like to make appearances on this platform. But Empress Dionne, we're gonna work with the eye audio. Can the eye speak, Empress Dionne? Empress Dionne, my sister. All right. Yes, all right. Who is Empress Menen? Empress Dionne. Can you hear I? All right, we're gonna work it out. We're bubbling the sip family, so don't worry yourself. We are not Russian. We are Ethiopians here, all right? So don't worry yourself. The pot of bubble, the pot just put on. We don't even season the thing properly yet. Little onion, little garlic, them thing they simmer at the bottom of the pot. Empress Dionne, we're gonna try work to get the eye sorted, and we're gonna go in the meantime to Janine. Who is Empress Menen?
I don't even believe I am qualified to speak among these women. Honestly, I can tell you who Empress Menen is to I.
Yes.
Because there's so much information that I don't have. I'm so excited as I heard every one of these women speak about the works that they have prepared, because I feel like I've manifested this moment. And I'm glad I'm on this panel, if not only to be able to hear. Because had I not been on the panel, maybe I wouldn't even be aware that this was happening, and I might have missed the opportunity to find you sisters so that I can scoop up everything you all have ever written, consume it, and then help to add to that which I feel on an energetic level. I love how Dr. Kush spoke about her being an energetic force rather than just a person. You know, and it is the same way I feel, and the same reverence that I hold for the king, it is how I hold it for the empress, because she could not be the balance to the king without being at least his equal. You understand? And so I feel very, very strongly about her as the embodiment of the feminine, in the same way that the king is the embodiment of that Christ principle. And that is a whole. That is a whole. That is not he is the man, she is the woman. That they are the embodiment of the principle. And not having been exposed to a lot of literature surrounding her, what was made available to me was, we all are probably familiar with the autobiography that was written by that white lady. I don't remember what her name is, honestly, but I remember reading that book and thinking, just waiting for I and I to write our version. So I'm very excited. Dr. Asantewaa, extremely excited to read, you know, from each of you ladies and share with the community, because when I am speaking of Empress Menen, it is always from a very philosophical place because of my lack of knowledge. So this is a very, very, very exciting moment for me. But who she is to me, the embodiment of femininity, the embodiment of calmness. And because I am somebody who, the relationship that I have had with my father and my grandfather and my brother and the men in my life, I have a deep love for mankind. And so when I look at how men treat us as women, and I look at how my father treated my mother so royally and so high, it made me respect him even more. And so when I read about His Majesty, my father came to mind so much. And so I looked and heard how he spoke of her, and the reverence with which he always spoke of her, and the fact that even though, I mean, this was back in, I say this all the time, they didn't have social media then, they didn't have people taking pictures of them all the time, so we don't know the loving nature of their relationship, but we know because of the number of offspring that, you know, were conceived, that there was many happy moments in the house. And I give thanks for that, because that now helps me to make her a real, not just her spiritual and her esoteric importance, but just as a woman too, and the feminine, and allowing and being there for her man in a way that gives him the kind of power that he would need to do the work that he had, you know, been there to do. And I would love the opportunity as the evening progresses. I have some questions as well, just like Chris. I mean, I have the questions, so I want the answers from you all as well. And one of the things that I really want to understand about her is her early life, her journey as a young woman, her first marriage, that journey, how you all perceive of that, and how that translates to our reality here, not just as Rastafari women, but as women in general, you know? And those are the conversations that I am looking forward to later down the line. But for me, Empress Menen is the embodiment of the light and the darkness that is the feminine.
The eye is in the right place, Janine. We're going to get it. That's why I'm trying to go to Wallow, you know. It's not just because I love Wallow. So that is why I want to go there. So, Dr. Wolete, who is Empress Menen?
Yes, I give thanks. Give thanks. So Empress Menen is, she's mercy, she's compassion, she's honor, she's glory. But let's go to Wallow. Let us go to the hills of Ambasal. Right? To the region of Ambasal in the north of Wallow, to the Beta Amhara region, to the region that was ruled by her family from the 12th or the 13th century, coming down from Negus Yakuna Amlak. Let's come to her father, the Jantira of Ambasal. And the Jantira, of course, is a title. Like Asantewaa was saying for Sheba, Queen of Sheba, the title, and Cleopatra, the title. This is the title of the ruler that holds that mountain fortress of Ambasal. And it's called the Jantira, and it's a hereditary title. So her father would be Jantira. It would have been passed on to her children from those earlier marriages that were male. They too would be Jantira, and they would take the Asfa from her father. So this is the playground of Empress Menen. This is the region that she was born in. She's coming down from the line. And Asantewaa, I'm going to have to research deeper, but I see as it relates to the Islam and the Prophet Muhammad, that the research that I found places her number 31 in that line, and it comes through her maternal line, and it is beginning with Abdullah bin Muhammad al-Bakr, and he would be fifth in the descent line from the Prophet Muhammad, and then they come all the way down 30 times until they get to Empress Menen. So I would have to research further how that works. But we know that she's the granddaughter of Negus Mikael, the Negus of Wallow. I walked into his palace in Wallow, in that region, and his palace was like a big mosque. So this was the playground of Empress Menen, the granddaughter of Negus Mikael of Wallow, who was born Muhammad Ali, right? The daughter of Wolete Sehin, who is also the daughter of, and I had to write his name down, her great-grandfather, Empress Menen's great-grandfather is, and I pray thee, forgive I'm going to come forward to it, but it is okay, he's an imam. Her great-grandfather, which would be the grandfather of her mother, is an Imam, Ali Abba Bula. So the entire side, as it relates to Negus Mikael and her mom coming all the way down, is the side of Islam. Does it trace to Prophet Muhammad? That part I'm not sure of. But in the Wollo region, her family is known, and the title of the Jantira, they are known as the noblest of aristocracy. This is the stock of Empress Menen. You know, Rases Jahzani always talks about Sahai, her daughter, Princess Sahai, and how Princess Sahai had to sit someone down and tell them, you know, mother was born equally as high, or mother was high born. Mother is also high born. The Jantiras are considered to be the noblest of aristocracy, even though they only ever ruled that Ambasal region of North Wollo. This is the line that Empress Menen comes through. She comes through the line of Negus Mikael, who is said to be a compassionate Negus. He held Johannes in his arms as he died in battle in the, I believe it was the battle of the Galabat, Galabat battle. Also, he fought with, her grandfather fought with Menelik II in the Battle of Adwa, Ras Mangasha, Johannes, I believe all of them marched together. We give Taitu and Menelik the credit, but Negus Mikael also fought and helped to win the Battle of Adwa. So this is the line that Empress Menen comes through. This is the lineage. Ones and ones would feel as though Empress Menen, you know, maybe received her glory, you know, at the time of her marriage to His Majesty. But she came in a balance and helped to fulfill and to seat up, you know, in that prophetic throne and that prophetic union. So I'm gonna stop right there. But the Wollo region and the hills of Ambasal, this is the playground of Empress Menen, having a grandfather that absolutely adored her as the leader and the ruler of the entire region at that time. And to add just a little bit really quickly, the early marriages, which I know I and I are going to delve deeper into, were more, they were social contracts, Janine. The civil marriages are for purposes of economics and social contracts that the family, you know, they make these alliances and these connections. They weren't recognized marriages. They were marriages that occurred at that time for those purposes, you know? So, yeah, so I'll stop there. So give thanks and Isis.
Give thanks. Empress Dionne, unmute the line there. Unmute. All right, we're gonna work on Empress Dionne. I don't want Trinidad get vexed with me, you know. Because Trinidad will get vexed. And Janine is being very humble. She wrote one of the greatest love song about Empress Menen, one of my favorite songs in life, Love Has Found I. If you go on YouTube and you listen that song, you know what I mean, you're gonna get the love story of His Majesty and Empress Menen. So she's being very humble, but I know the vibration. Empress Dionne, unmute yourself. Don't put me in problem with Trinidad, Empress Dionne, please. Unmute thyself. Can they hear I, Empress Dionne? Can they hear I? Empress Dionne, I think we have a delay while we work out the Trinidad, and watch, it's going to manifest. All right, Empress Dionne. Is the Wi-Fi family. I also want yeah, Bingy. All right, who is Empress Menen? Empress Dionne, who is Empress Menen? You see the smile frees the internet family. The smile bright. The smile frees up the whole internet crash in Trinidad. It's not I fault family, it's the smile too bright for the computer. All right, we're going to continue. Empress Dionne, can you hear I? All right, we're gonna work it out. I want to go to Dr. Asantewaa. I have dealt with this topic very eloquently in terms of the early child of Empress Menen, the marriages.
Yeah.
Since we're there, please just give us some context around those. Oh, okay. Hold on.
I choose to fight.
Talk, Empress Dionne. Who is Empress Menen? Who is Empress Menen? Empress Dionne. All right.
Yeah.
Yes, we hear the eye, but it's very poor connection. I don't know. If you're on your phone or if you're on a laptop, switch to either or the other and try. Sometimes the device will give you a better connection. Or maybe take off your camera and maybe the audio will come in better. Take off your camera and let's see if we can work with your audio. While we sort out Empress Dionne, because I think there's a delay in terms of her the sound as well. Dr. Asantewaa, please take us into the early chart of Empress Menen.
Yes, so I think some of that was said already, but it's just coming through now.
It's a real lengthy delay.
Okay.
Empress Dionne, you have to just talk, Just talk. If you're gonna talk, we're bubbling the SIP family down, This is part of the excitement of the moment, Some little thing have to come and then we get through at the end. You know how the movie always said. All right. Dr. Asantewaa, just continue, please, because I know you've dealt with this topic and I want to get some context.
Yeah, so I would just build on what I heard Empress Wolete Beresford saying that indeed her early marriages and His Majesty is her fourth marriage. Her early marriages were allowed by Ethiopian law as social contractual marriages. They are not sacred. They can be easily abrogated. We know that everyone amongst royalty is trying to vie for a position as close to the throne as possible. And so, unfortunately, at that time in Ethiopia, there was marrying of younger children to people who they believed had the ambition to make the throne. So at age 11, really, Empress Menen is married, not of her own making, but through contractual agreements from her grandfather, from her uncle, who is Lijiasu, trying to get as close as possible to the throne. And when they see that whoever they have married, their niece, their granddaughter to, is not making any progress, they willingly step in and abrogate the marriage and end the marriage and then reroute you to somebody else. So this was Empress Menen's story for 3 marriages, and I believe 4 children, So this was a young woman who I heard a sister from South Africa say, we have to call her a strong woman, because there are women who that would have broken, to go through that many husbands that early. But she comes through with colors, But we know that Lijiasu, who is heir apparent to the throne, already has some feeling that the son of Ras Makonnen might also be ambitious for the throne. So it is implied in her bibliography that he wanted to get rid of a possible threat that he was feeling, and he wanted to send Ras Tafari to Harar, really. And this was even before he was Ras. Just wanted to send him to Harar and just get him as far away as possible from central Ethiopia. And he set up the meeting of young Empress Menen and then Liz Tafari. And he wanted that union as a way to, I would say, eliminate the threat that they would butt heads. And he did not know how divine his setup was. Because when these two met each other, and here I'm building energetically on the story as it is told in her bibliography. When these two met each other, they instantly knew. The connection was clear not only to them, but to others around them. That they had found where they want to be. And this we see most clearly when early in the marriage, her uncle and her grandfather come to her and say, you know what, you're going to have to leave him alone too. Even though this is a sacred marriage. This is a marriage that is done in the church by the request of His Majesty and Her Majesty. They make that request together, you know. They don't want a marriage that can be broken. But her grandfather approached her and her uncle approached her and said, listen, we don't like where this is going. Get rid of that man. And we see Empress Menen really become the lioness that she is. She was pregnant with their second child, and she says, no, I will not. I will not. I will not. And I've been told that maybe this story is a little massaged because in her biography, we find they translate exactly what was written by his name will come to me. And then they add Yared Michael. Thank you. Give thanks. The author has added some of her own making, right? So you're reading, and if you're not watching the italics, you know what I'm saying? You can start thinking that that's what was there originally, but everything italicized is of her own making, her own research, and not everything she references. So, let's be careful, but we are told that she was asked to leave the palace pregnant because she said no to her uncle and her grandfather. And family members have said that there would be no way that would be possible. But of course, that is what is in the book. But we know that Empress Menen stands her ground. And in the translation, it says, when the baby was young, the young prince was young, she held him close to her. And she went to be with then Ras Tafari. Yeah, because he was away for the birth of that of the second child. So she stands because she knows she's found something right. And I don't think she saw the glory fully. I don't think this was a throne thing. I don't think that it was a money thing. I think it was a heart thing. I think they found each other. Yeah.
You see that? So when Janine sing a song named Lovers Found I, and then she want to tell you say she don't know much, I have to expose say she knows a
By
lot.
comparison.
Give thanks. What a joy. Does anyone want to add anything to this topic? And then we're gonna try to see if Empress Dionne can block up any other sounds.
Yes, I pray thee. I want to add to what Asantewaa blocked regarding the chemistry between Haile Selassie at that time, Lich Tafari or the jazz match. What was he at the time of the marriage? The jazz match, correct?
The jazz match, yes.
Okay, yes. And Princess, because she was princess. She was a princess, Princess Menen. I want to talk about the astrological pairings of the two. We can't leave that out because the ram, who is what the Empress symbolizes, being born under the zodiac sign of Aries. And then, of course, we know Haile Selassie is born under the zodiac sign of Leo. And if you know anything about astrology, you know that there is no more divine coupling, right, than those two fire signs. All right. So, and I call that too, so the two of them coming together was the making of the cosmos. You understand? And so that is why that love, in my opinion, was so strong and so divine. Because, and let me talk really briefly about Empress Menen's character, right? Or how her character is perceived within the Rastafari liberty. Many ones see the Empress as very humble, as somewhat docile, and that's simply because they have not heard much of her voice. So this quiet energy has been placed on her. However, that energy is contrary to the energy of an Aries woman. And so now we're in the season of Aries, and we're going to talk about it really briefly. So Aries women are very fiery women. They're leaders, and we saw her leadership come to the forefront, during the time of the invasion. You understand? They're very wise. So when Haile Selassie talks about her being his most trusted and faithful counselor, an advisor, we know that to be true. So the energy between the two of these leaders, okay, is something that could not have been foreseen by Lejatsu or whoever put them together. They had no idea what they were doing. But it's obvious that when the two of them got together, meaning Haile Selassie and Empress Menen, that energy stayed and it stuck. And that's why she was willing to forsake her family, you understand, and their wishes and their demands. Because when an Aries woman finds a lion that is strong and is powerful, she is willing to stay, and she is willing to advise and to strengthen him until eternity. So that's what that energy was about.
Mighty, mighty, mighty. Any other sounds on that topic?
Goosebumps and eye water. Beautiful.
I just wanted to add, I think it's important to mention as well, when Haile Selassie when Rastafari decided to marry Empress Menen, he made sure that his work that he was doing as the governor of Harar, he spent like a whole year stabilizing the province and making sure everything was running smoothly before he decided to ask the Empress Menen, to marry him. So I think looking at that, it shows that maybe he felt like he needed to do his groundwork before he could ask for her hand in marriage, so that he could feel like, he's worthy of what she was bringing to the table. The fact that he's making sure his work is done, so that he's an honorable man. He's already an honorable man, but just to make sure he can match her energy, I think that's really important. He didn't just meet her, fall in love, ask for marriage. He made sure he was ready and his work was done, his foundation was set. So I think that's really important.
Very crucial, because that's written in the autobiography. I did an episode to the Rastafari Man and our Rastafari Man Standard series about preparation. His Majesty is very clear that he took time to prepare himself, ordering the government in Harar when he said when it was stable and he felt that things were running upon a level, that is when he asked for her hand in marriage, because there is an economic component to long-term relationships we cannot ignore. Lovey-dovey doesn't last, brethren and sisters. So His Majesty set that example. Empress Dionne. Oh, okay. Before we go into that, Dr. Rasses, Dr. Wolete.
Pretty eye.
Yes.
I was just going to add that, and this is for a woman with 4 children, and 3 prior relationships, whether or not they were social contracts or civil marriages. This is what This is what Ionized Jah is doing to appear for her, right? So there's her worth. I also wanted to add that when he did send for her to come, the Hara army was sent to meet her midway, and he had already sent his most trusted men to go, and then they met the Hara army midway to escort her to him safely. So, if the world didn't know, Rastafari knew.
You see, when you step to janitor people, them you have to come strong. You can't come with no little loosey goosey, sapsy thing. I'm gonna send my best soldiers there to make them know that this thing has been set. You know what I mean? That's how we step in a janitor. So, brethren, see the example and see how we can model. This is not a poverty trad. We are royal Ethiopians. You know what I mean? Empress Dionne, talk to I now. All right, unmute. We have a severe delay, family, but we're gonna give Empress Dionne a chance. Just start talking, Empress Dionne. When this reach you, just talk. Don't even itch. Who is Empress Menen? This is suspenseful, family. Tell you. All right.
Well, can I add something that I just remembered when I heard?
Yes, I go through.
Well, let's talking. I remember that I was reading Empress Menen's grandson's biography, and he was saying that there was another more beautiful, in his words, and we have to be so careful with this colorism and just all the I want to say cray that comes with colonialism and colonialized minds. He said there was another more beautiful woman in the sphere of Haile Selassie and Empress Menen, and at some point before they made the royal or that sacred marriage agreement, he was tempted to go that way. And of course, because he was there, he was a product of the earlier marriages that Empress Menen had, and those children had children by the time she was moving along with Haile Selassie, and he said that there was temptation, and Empress Menen had to confront him and say, like, remember our oath, remember our agreement, and I was just so bothered by that story, and I mentioned it to Empress Wolete, and she said, well, did that lady get 50 years? It was just enough for me to say that this isn't something that I take seriously. Because if a man gives a woman in excess of 50 years, this isn't something he was equivocating on or he was on the fence about. His heart was truly there. I'm sorry, this person remembers this story as a child, and the story may not have gone exactly that way. You know what I'm saying? But of course, and I want to disabuse our mind that anybody could be more beautiful than anybody else. Empress Menen is beautiful, full stop. We don't have to go any further, right? And what we have as primary source evidence in front of us, that divine marriage that they lived out, he loved her and she loved him.
Give thanks for
and
that.
her name means beauty. Her name is beauty. It's the name given to the most beautiful ones. And she is from the region of Ambasal. Amba means plateau, and Asal means honey. She is from the honey plateau and has the name of the most beautiful one. So, no bun could have ever take place, no time at all. Anybody would be wasting their time. He sent an army to bring her forward.
And remember the story of the temptation of even Yeshua when he take him to the mountain and him show him, I want to give a male perspective because the black woman is the most beautiful creation ever put on the earth. And there could have been a temptation for true, but him hold it, and he ended up with Empress Menen. So, from a brethren perspective, it's not difficult to believe that there was a temptation and that His Majesty chose thing. And we also have to mention that His Majesty also had a child, Princess Romaine Work, from a previous marriage. And those days, as a youth from you reach puberty, as a nobility, you're going to be given a sister from a next prominent family, as Dr. Asantewaa said, people vying for that position and to position their youths. So His Majesty did have a child, Princess Romaine, work. And in terms of the child marriage thing, we also have to put into context that in a feudal society, sometimes the life expectancy might be 30 or 40 years old, especially in a war society. Ethiopia is a war ground, you know what I mean, where there was excess of war. And so, if someone lives to 30, as soon as the children become of childbearing age, they're also going to be looking to be fruitful and multiply, because anything could happen. This is before modern medicine was prevalent. This is before literacy was the standard. You know what I mean? This is barefoot. You're riding a horse. It take you 3 months to get to Harar. Cholera come down. In the autobiography, we hear about sicknesses that wipe out vast swathes of armies and things that took place. So we have to put that in context as well when we're looking at the societal norms of the time, and to realize that these were things that Empress Menen later would abolish, child marriage in Ethiopia. And I know we'll talk about that, her works in that regard, and also establishing the first girls' school in Ethiopia. All right, family, I'm going to ask for some patience right now, because I'm going to send a message to Empress Dionne, and we're all going to pray collectively. Lion Pride in Australia, I want you pray, make we break this Wi-Fi shackle that is trying to keep my sister's voice from ring out. All of my Trinidad family, I need you to pray. Port of Spain, drop a fire emoji if Trinidad is watching. Empress Menen Rising, drop some fire emojis. We're going to break this chain. Empress Dionne, I'm going to pass it to the eye. Who is Empress Menen?
Blessed love, royal panel. Give thanks to be here. Give thanks to be heard. Oh, this is myself on seat, so I hope the seat is the final one, Blessed love, family. My name is Empress Dionne. I am representing Empress Menen Rising, a group that does the humble be fed, the naked be clothed, the for. So it is a group of Rastafari daughters from all walks of Rastafari, liberties, and just the love of Rastafari, being in one sisterhood, doing the works of Jah. So we have a few who does do planting, and it have for selling and for giving to the neighborhoods. It have who doing elderly care, who doing children care, and then we just have on Sunday go on there for the youths. We have something every quarter, which is every 3 months for the Empress and Her Majesty, because they don't teach you these things in school. So we're trying to grasp them from young so they will grow with it. We are planning annual events like the marriage supper of His and Her Majesty on the 31st of July. This year will be our second year. And it have other empresses who do works within line of Her Majesty. I am a homemaker, a winemaker, and a caretaker. And I am also part of the Women Freedom Liberation League, which is a branch of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, who does work at home and abroad, So give thanks for His and Her Majesty works and the guidance that give us the strength to do what it is we doing, give us the knowledge to do what it is we doing. Blessed love.
Give thanks, give thanks. You see, family, patience. We are Ethiopian people, and when we're patient, we get that beauty and that gem there. So I give thanks, Empress Menen Rising, all of our Trinidad family. I want to make an announcement before we go any further. We did hit briefly 100 people on the live. That's a record for the platform. So I really want to just clap up all of the Lion Pride, everybody who's watching live, for the thousands that will watch on repeat. We just want to give thanks on behalf of the entire Lion Voice Network team. This is a big moment for I through the powers of the Empress. Also, we recognize today as the Ascension Day of Negos Ras Tafari, who on this day ascended the throne as Nugusa Nagas, although he delayed his coronation for 7 months to allow for the invitation of foreign dignitaries from all of the recognized empires of the world at the time. So this is an auspicious day that we come together. And again, this is going to be an annual tradition on this platform, Empress Menen Panel. So stay tuned. If you're not subscribed to the platform, please subscribe. All of our global family, I really give thanks. We're going to have some time for question and answer. So drop your questions. We'll get to the comments. I see them coming in. Also, let us know where you're watching from in the comments. Let us know where in the world you're watching from so we can experience the global reach. All right. So now we're going to go to, well, is there anything else on who is Empress Menen before we go to now talking about some of her legacy and the legacy of the Rastafari woman? Do we have any other? All right, so the legacy, and when we say legacy, we want to take it broad. So we're talking about each and every one of the sisters on this panel are part of the legacy of Empress Menen in a real way. Each of them has drawn strength from her. So feel free to talk about the works that you're doing in this segment and some of the ways that Empress Menen has guided the work that you are doing, because the work that each sister here is doing is part of the global legacy of Empress Waziri Menen. So we'll start with the IRSS, Dr. Jahzani Kush, and we'll go down the line again. Give thanks.
Yes, I give thanks. Well, Empress Menen has inspired I to create, based on her energy that she shares with I, an entire worldview, called Blue Fire. And so Blue Fire, as Janine alluded to earlier, is the divine feminine energy of the Rastafari woman, with Empress Menen as the model for that energy. And so Blue Fire, if I were to do a juxtaposition between Blue Fire and the red fire or the red flame that the Rastafari man is connected with, is a more controlled fire. Blue fire is the hottest fire on the fire spectrum. It is a very oxygen rich fire. And so it is that fire that Empress Menen has shared with I, and I in turn have shared that energy with my sister. And so one of the ways that I come together to synergize that energy is through a annual Empress Menen Asfa Blue Fire Leadership I treat. So Empress Menen, for I, like I said, being born under the zodiac sign of Aries and knowing that leadership is one of the key characteristics of the Aries woman, it caused I to go into looking at Empress Menen's liberty, her life, and I know that Haile Selassie advocates leadership as well. So knowing that they are paired and we know that his leadership is always exampled and is out there, it caused I to go within and say, well, what does her leadership look like? Because I've seen it, and can I identify her leadership? And if I can identify it, can I create a model for the Rastafari woman to utilize in her works? And so I have done that, and I have created the Empress Menen Roundtable Blue Fire Leadership model, which rests on 3 pillars. You have exigency leadership, which is also, you can call it emergency leadership, that we see the Empress employ during times of duress, during the invasion. We saw that leadership kick in. There's also truths and rights leadership that we see her employ when it comes to advocating for women's rights, the abolition of child marriages. And then there is iritical leadership. And that iritical leadership we see when she goes into deep prayer and deep Isis, when she is in the monastery in Palestine. So those are the 3 pillars that her leadership model rests on. And so not only Rastafari woman, but the Rastafari man too can do himself justice by also studying her leadership and pairing that leadership with the leadership of Haile Selassie. So that's my primary work at this time, working with Rastafari women. And now I have given myself a charge to work with Rastafari young women. And when I say young women, I mean the ages of 18 to 35, because I do believe that there is a gap there. And I think that you have women of my age and older, you understand, who've lived the liberty. I've been in the liberty almost 40 years. Next year makes 40 years. And I know that I need to connect with those sisters who are coming behind me, because they're going to carry this blue fire torch. When I'm sitting in Lalabella or wherever I relocate to, I need to know that these sisters are over here or wherever they are within the diaspora doing the work.
Give thanks, give thanks. Empress Sinai, the impact.
Yeah, Empress Menen's influence is far-reaching. So I think for me, her emphasis on the importance of education is something that's always stuck with myself, and the importance of educating the next generation so that they can contribute to their country, to their communities, to their families. And that's something that I have taken and sort of woven into the pages of my publication, Jahzani magazine. Every page is about educating the next generation about Rastafari, about what it means, about our achievements as a community, about the spiritual importance of the movement as well, and the obstacles that we've overcome. And that's just how I'm sort of making sure that I carry forth Empress Menen's legacy, is that she is celebrated in our publication, you know, and also when I'm grounded in my community, I'm very involved in the Rastafari community in the UK. I think you mentioned it earlier. I am a 2nd generation Rastafari. My children are 3rd generation Rastafari. And it's really important for me to also educate my children on the history of Rastafari and on the history of Empress Menen, especially for my daughter, so that she can see that there is this example of a woman who not only was a fantastic mother and a brilliant wife, but she was really a great leader. You know, she really helped others. She really played it forward in passing that torch and helping others as well on their journey. So I would say that's her legacy. And I will do everything that I can to amplify Empress Menen's story and her legacy with my platform.
Yeah, thanks. And I want you to just quickly talk about the role of Rastafari independent non-aligned media in amplifying that legacy as one of our pioneers in the space.
Yeah, I think it's really important. As we had a conversation, I think last strong, about the importance of the media. The media hasn't always been a friend to the Rastafari community. A lot of the reporting in the past has been biased, has been steeped in racial prejudice. negative connotations about who we are. So for me to have a platform, it's about righting that wrong and saying, you're not going to dictate to the world who we are. It's about us telling our own stories, and that can be really powerful. I don't think we realize how powerful the media is in terms of shaping people's perceptions, in terms of making sure some history lives and some history is buried. And this platform and just everything that's been discussed already shows how important it is to have safe spaces where Rastafari can come together and share our history in such an open and honest way. So I think it's really important, and I commend you for creating this space for us all to join.
Well, again, I'm inspired by the iWorks, and it's a mutual admiration society. Dr. Asantewaa, Oppong Wadie, the legacy.
Give thanks. So I want to point out some things that I would like people to remember about Empress Menen. And each year in Chicago, we try to take a large window of her life and highlight that window and make it palatable and accessible, because actually in Chicago, Empress Menen Day is patronized by more non-Rastafari people than Rastafari people. We actually have the general public just show up saying that they want to learn. So that has been a blessing. But every year we have to kind of, how do we connect her to you in a new way? So last year I want to talk about the connection that we made with Mother Mamie Till, who is Emmett Till's mother. And I'm sure, if I'm assuming wrongly, let me know, that most people know who Emmett Till is, of that teenager who was killed by white supremacists in Mississippi. And the decision that his mother made, not only to have an open casket and everything that went with that, but to travel back south and hold people accountable. And she took what I call that dangerous car ride. And I was able to say that dangerous car ride, what she explains like the Underground Railroad in reverse. That is, she was smuggled from house to house because she said police, vigilantes had her license plate number. And they were on the lookout for her, waiting for her on the back roads between Chicago and Mississippi to shoot and kill her upon seeing her. So she was smuggled back into Mississippi to testify against these murderers. Well, that Empress Menen did something very similar. Also took that historic car ride. She tells this to a journalist. She said, I was never afraid of those death-dealing bombs. She said, when the bombs were falling in Addis Ababa, I would not rest in the palace. They had underground places that they went when bombs were falling. She said she ordered her motorcade with her children begging her to sit still, stay here. We need you to live. Our father is in the field already. Where are you going? Empress Menen loaded up her motorcade and went out into the streets and told people who were vendors, people who sell wares like bread, like fruit, and are probably not aware of what is happening. Like, run to the mountains. She was like, let's limit the fallout. You need to go to the mountains and hide. You might not have a bunker at home like I do, but the mountains will protect you. She circulated that city. She circumvented that city, went around and around and made sure that people were out of the way of harm. She was called again and again, come back, come back. Word got to her that she should come back. It's not safe. It is not safe. And she said, I only went back when it got really severe. And all the while when His Majesty was in the field, Empress Menen was holding forth. I mean, I am just so proud of the example that she set. I can't say enough. That motorcade was not only used during the time of war, but even afterwards. When, of course, a motorcade is exactly that. Several cars in a row escorting someone of importance. But she would halt the motorcade because the people of Ethiopia genuinely did not know what to do with disabled children. And they would leave them at the side of the road to collect money, alms from people who felt sorry for them passing by. And this to Empress Menen was repulsive. Why are we doing this with children? She would pick up Ethiopia's children, seek out their guardians, and ask for permissions to take them back home. Empress Menen created not only the first school for girls, but the first school for the disabled. In 1948, she created the school for the disabled, the deaf, the blind, people who have physical deformities. So we really see someone maximizing what we call ma'at, do good, speak well, speak good, do good, right? Empress Menen was active. You know what I'm saying? This was somebody who presaged these Europeans. Just this week, I saw come across the news headlines on my phone that the CIA is now claiming that they have the Ark of the Covenant. They found it. They have some signs. Okay. Empress Menen presaged all of that. She saw that coming. She said, this is going to be the Jerusalem that Black people will have to return to. I'm going to put my money, namely in St. Mary of Gishen in Wallow. So I'm taking you to Wallow, Jahzani. She repaired that. Now that church is legendary because portions of the cross are said to be there. And whether you support that theory or not, she repaired that church. If you see that church, it is beautiful. Not only did she repair the church, she repaired the roads heading to that church, right? And at the time of Moscow each year, thousands of people come. And as more people are finding that the actual Jerusalem is not a place that they can go to right now, it is under stress, they are going to turn to Ethiopia. And she wanted Ethiopia to be ready. She repaired the church of the Ark of the Covenant. Those were her dollars, even though as a woman, she could not enter that church, right? She made sure that the history, antiquity of Ethiopia was firm and in place. She was an antiquarian. She was someone who collected rare manuscripts from Ethiopia and had them revised and upgraded and made ready for the next generation. So I heard you say on another show, Jahzani Kush, that these churches were not only just churches, they were also schools. Absolutely. Those were libraries. And who kept those libraries intact? And who modernized those libraries so that someone in 2025 could go pick up those books? Empress, and that was her. That was her. That was the work of a great wife. We could go on and on. I've created a timeline, not for saying she begins here and ends there, but just to see the layout and the magnificence of what she did, right? And just everything that you could think of, a laundromat, the first laundromats in Ethiopia, so that women didn't spend so much hours washing. The first daycares in Ethiopia. The first adult learning institutions, not only for girls, but for older women. Now you don't raise your children. How are you going to be of service to the state? She thought it all out and put her time and her resources into making that possible. So give thanks.
For those who are wondering, yes, her father is a preacher. So just so you know what you're getting right there. So when we tell her to block, you're going to get passion. Empress Dionne, tell us about the legacy, Empress Menen Rising. I think this is one of the most profound things happening right now in the global space. Tell us about the legacy and the works of Empress Menen Rising. Give thanks.
Blessed love. Well, the legacy of Empress Menen or Empress Menen Rising. Empress Menen Rising was founded by an honorable empress named Empress Sharon and Empress Mujuma. They had a vision that the daughters are being left behind, works to get done because work's not being done. So within their agitation, they say, well, let's gather some daughters and let's, celebrate Empress Menen born day. because in the Bobo Shanti family that I grew up in, we used to celebrate Queen Omega born day. She was always honored and revered, but it wasn't widespread across the Rastafari board as opposed to Selassie's born day. So these empresses decided to come together to honor Queen Omega. And within doing so, they brought together Bobo Shanti sisters, including myself, Orthodox sisters, 12 tribe sisters, African Unity, House of Melchizedek, and Rastafari daughters who not even self under a mansion, but love Rastafari still. And as I tell you what the aim and the purpose is, and we setting forward and we doing it as small as possible and little by little. So this year is the 4th year Empress Menen Rising ground dating, and we expanding the joy of how works. We actually doing how works now, because in the first 2 years it was just how born they were celebrated. So now we're doing something for the youths, we're doing something for the elderly. So we having something straight through the year with this organize something, if it be, as I said, the dinner, the marriage supper dinner, to honor King. Father's Day, but mothers have plenty days, Besides everyday mothers have plenty days, So we decide to honor the kings and them for the works that they're doing behind the scenes that does make us flow. Just like His Majesty said, Her Majesty was always working alongside him behind closed doors. She was his grandmother. So said with I and I, the same way how we choose to live, right? Our king man is our greatest advisor. We don't do nothing without the word. So we choose to honor them and show them that gratitude and that moment. We also it have a sister who doing ITAL. This is her second year educating the public about healthy eating, healthy living, healthy drinking, drinking spring water and keeping behind it. We also due to we have a and Her Majesty where the youths could take away something,
All right.
a piece of knowledge that could take them through for them. We are running through our veins. So we are more than they're teaching us in schools, because they only teach you half or less than half in schools. So we try our best to educate the youths, not just Rastafari, because it's not just Rastafari youths this be present. So we try to educate the public on the awareness of the self and the pride that the glory that they try to steal from us and hide from us. That is what Empress Menen Rising doing at the present moment. And due to, well, it's easier for me to do Empress Menen Rising works because I have already been doing that with my youths, where I educate my youths about the black self and the king and the queen, even Marcus Garvey, because Marcus Garvey said it is time for the woman to come out of the house and out of the kitchen. He did something by making the first woman's first Black Cross nurses, the Women's Brigade. He put them in offices, he put them in secretaries. He give thanks to these leaders and elders that could pave the way for advancement. And and I to teach our youths and extend it to other people as well too, So give thanks to His Majesty and all the works all the time. Blessed love.
Powerful, powerful. And we're going to continue to feature the item works Empress Menen Rising on this platform. Again, Trinidad has something to contribute to the global family. And if you're not familiar with what's happening in Trinidad, you need to tap in. Janine, I want the Eye to talk about your musical journey because the Eye yourself is part of the legacy. I just interviewed Sister Kushite from Trinidad, and I asked her why did she start making music. She's a nurse. She said, I saw Janine, and Janine music inspired I to say, I have to start, using my musical gift, the complexity of your word sound, how you structure your songwriting. So the I is part of the legacy. Talk to us about the music and how Empress Menen has impacted your music.
I will.
Okay.
There's a comment here from Negus Kamal Atu that says, has anyone expressed the story on how Her Imperial Majesty Aitesh Menen Asfa freed Ras Tafari Women from being jailed by Empress Zadi II in 1928? I would love to hear about that because I'm here making notes. So, ladies, please.
Oh, this is the panel for that. But before we go there, we'll go there because we have them ready for that,
Okay. Fine.
Us,
okay. So I am not first generation, second generation Rastafari. I am multi-generational Christian church, Baptist Christian here in Jamaica. And I was fortunate enough to grow up with a father. My father was a Baptist minister in Trelawney. If you're familiar with Falmouth, Trelawney, there's a revolutionary history there. Free villages, Maroons, cockpit country, powerful, powerful legacy of resilient, empowered Black people in Jamaica, right? And I grew up with that confidence. My grandfather as well, just a legacy of very impressive men in my life. And I look at how the relationship with my father and mother evolved and the confidence and security it gave me growing up, and seeing my father support his community and build a legacy with my mother, so that by the time I was introduced to His Majesty's autobiography and his works, I could see an example of that in my own trajectory, that, okay, in order for a man to be of a certain caliber, he is going to have to be aligned with a powerful woman. There is no man that can actualize outside of the presence of a divine woman at his side. So as you go through life and you see these powerful men, there is no way you are going to see a comprehensive man. And there is no woman beside him giving him that strength. Let me say that first. And so in reading His Imperial Majesty's autobiography, I immediately fell in love. Like, first of all, like, I'm reading it and I'm going through a ritual at the time when I'm reading it, where I'm also reading through the Bible in a particular way. I'm reintroducing myself to the Bible because I got baptized when I was very young. I was not compelled into the church. It was the story of David that drew me to feel very convicted and want to, approach my spirituality in a religious way. And a time came when I outgrew the container of Judeo-Christianity, and it made me, and I started to learn about the African roots of it, and it made me very, let's say I put the Bible down for a long time, because I thought I needed to find its source. And there were questions I was asking in the space of religion that I wasn't getting answers for. And my father was the kind of man who I could talk to about this, and he wasn't limited by theology, and he had his master's in divinity, and he was so open to the questions I would ask. But I wasn't in his church. He wasn't a reverend of a church anymore. He was the chaplain at Calabar High School. And so he was the spiritual leader at a boys' school. So his work evolved away from even the church itself as well. And he became very radical and he became very powerful as a further example for me. And so by the time I met His Imperial Majesty, I was ready. So I saw Rastafari. I don't have any Rastafari people in my family. I was not exposed to the tradition. I did not know anything about Empress Menen. I only heard what, as Sister Fleary mentioned, is propaganda from the media. So you're not drawn to Rastafari because of what you hear. It is an internal thing that pulls you toward it. And it is an attraction that pulls the information toward you. And by the time I got to university and I was exposed to the autobiography and I started to go through a transition in my mind of what leadership was and what revolutionary action was. It moved from, okay, I need to join the army and learn to bust gun and fly plane, to peace is the highest order. Peace, diplomacy. I remember reading through the autobiography of His Majesty and having to put it down at times and just walk up and down, just trying to process what I was reading and the approach that he took to life. And so upon meeting Her Majesty, it just made perfect sense. And then one of the most profound things about their relationship was that coronation story, which I'm sure the learned elders will go on in further detail about. But that was like one of those moments in your life when everything is different after learning that. Because that cemented in my mind that, okay, this movement, whatever it turns out to be, because I went through the mansions and I fell in love with, and then I kind of also got a distaste for with some things, because you go in with a father like mine and then learning about Rastafari, His Imperial Majesty from his own words, and then going into these spaces and meeting the brethren who were supposed to be representative of that, and just being impressed by some of them who weren't even in mansions, and then going into the mansions and seeing the politics, and then starting to get that taste in my mouth of the thing that made me leave organized religion in the first place. It was a difficult thing. But that moment, those experiences really cemented for me that His Majesty's story and his relationship with Empress Menen was a story for us as sisters. That journey, like Rastafari, is a very feminine experience because it is the experience of His Imperial Majesty. And I think the person who had the highest experience of him was Her Imperial Majesty. And so the way he loved her, the way he honored her, the way he put the whole world on pause for her, these are empowering things, and I saw those examples in how my father pursued my mother as well, and they had 50 uninterrupted years of marriage up until he passed last year. And it's such a rare and beautiful thing when a man who has been with a woman for so long passes away, and no cockroaches don't crawl out, no little nitty in the business. It's just heights of honor. So this is why I immediately identified with His Imperial Majesty, and in learning about her, I needed to know more. So again, I am just so very, very honored and privileged to be in this space, and I am making notes because I am going to have to speak with each of you ladies individually because there is work I have to do. Okay, that being said, very quickly, what I am doing, my legacy, I am a writer. I am a strategist. I'm a social scientist. I have a degree in psychology and human resource development. I have postgraduate level studies in marketing. So I have transformed my journey from serving in corporate to serving my community, my people, and learning from them as a cultural ambassador, going through the world, using wellness and music to transmute energy and give people space to be themselves. And this is continual work that I'm doing. And so the music is reaching to spaces, but how come she don't reach further? Because my goals are very different. And so I personally consider myself the most successful artist of all time because I have literally done the things that I have set out to do. And in moving to Africa for 3 years. I didn't even make the choice. It was something that was inside of me since I was a little girl, and it just manifested, because that's how life works. You manifest the things you desire the most. You don't have to work and struggle and push for them. And so there are so many things that resonate with me, you know, through this Rastafari trad. And there are also many things that I unapologetically do not align with. And they're not out of any contempt, but rather for the fact that the work of manifesting means you have to be so protective of your mind and your words. So saying things about oppression and saying things about the state that you're in and the words that follow I am, it's very crucial not to destroy your own legacy with the words. And there's so much work that has been done by our predecessors, the brethren and sisters, who during the time when it was a literally dangerous thing to be a Rastafari, they did that work tirelessly. And as Sister Wadie spoke about, when, you know, her Imperial Majesty and the charge she took and the fearlessness with which she approached life, she was not operating from a victim place. She was not operating from a place of fear. And so these are the principles that I embody in my own personal journey. And these are the principles that I endorse. So there are things that I will not align with, not because they are not important, but you have to know yourself. And Sister Kush spoke about it as well. I know you are doctor, and forgive me if I call you Kush, it is, you know what I mean? All titles and respect and manners due. But I'm saying, understanding yourself and your astrological placement and your purpose, and all of these things are very, very crucial, especially for us as women. Those things are more, those subtle energies are more important than the career you will have or the job or your place in this man's world. Like connecting with the divine feminine, your cycle, the rituals as women that we have inherited from Africa and all of our sister cultures. Knowing these things, this is the work that we're doing. So I use this information in my music. I'm developing programs like, you know, the Note to Self personal development program that I did in 2020. I'm evolving that, and I am continuing to evolve in my work, in my personal appearances. Whenever there is music, if there's a Janine show, be sure that there's probably going to be a wellness event that surrounds it, holding space for conversations. And even as I move forward now, and I love what Dr. Kush is talking about and her love stories, like I'm ready for it. And just being able to talk about man and woman things, right? So when you see Rastafari women, they are the ones who hold themselves in the highest. You don't know their business. You won't know what they do with their husband and their man. You don't have to know. They are the most royal. But trust and believe, there is so much that all women can learn. And so for me, I want to bring these beautiful traditions of carrying yourself in a royal way to all women, not just Rastafari women, because no more than ever the daughters need to be empowered that you can be sensual and you can be feminine, and there is a way to also be royal and serve and be all of the aspects of femininity and still hold yourself to a particular standard. And what does it take to do that? Like, that is the work that we are all doing, and that's the work that I think collectively we need to do more of, because we are here not just to serve Rastafari women, but to serve women in general, because that is the legacy of His Majesty, honoring the feminine. Honestly, this is how I feel. Peace, to be the Prince of Peace, like His Majesty embodied feminine principles as well. He was not out there promoting war. He was not out there with hundreds of wives. He was not promoting that he is like, if you, so in other words, when women see His Majesty and learn of His Majesty before they meet the movement of Rastafari, they are going to have expectations of what a Rasta man is supposed to be. So this is now where we as women who embody that, you know, Menen principle have to shine. We have to make sure that the decisions we are making, where the brethren in our lives are concerned, we hold them to that standard as well. Because not just because you have the anatomy of a man, it makes you a man, right? And submission, you are not entitled to it. It is something you must inspire, right? And when you do so, you will get the kind of woman who will submit to you. You will not have to ask certain things of her, right? So we're asking everybody to elevate. And so that is my personal work now, doing that through my music, through the programs I'm developing, through the events, and through the connections I am making.
Give thanks, give thanks. You have Dr. Jahzani, a smile, me see you. A smile.
Yes. The jazz match, I would like to say something really quickly.
Yes,
At
go
least
ahead.
I'll try to be quick. Because I know you have viewers out there who are, some of them might not necessarily see Empress Menen as Ivine. You know, within Rastafari, one see Empress Menen, some see her as simply the wife of Haile Selassie, some see her as a great queen, and then some see her as a Jahess, right? I would like to, you know, I would like to assist ones who are interested with tapping into her energy, because many of I came into the liberty hailing Haile Selassie or knowing about Haile Selassie the first. And so it was easier to connect with him. For those of I who began to hail her as Ivine, sometimes we got pushed forward back from the community, depending on where, you know, we were located, right? And so I think that that initial connection that seemed so easy and seamless with the king hasn't really transferred over into the liberty when it comes to the empress. So I would like to ask ones who are interested in someone's but in the Bible. Some people are interested in the Bible, but I would say go forward and read Proverbs chapter 8. Proverbs chapter 8, starting with verse 22, will give you the, you know how in the prophecy it says, let us make man? Well, that Proverbs will tell you who the other person was, okay? And so we know that, you know, if there's a Jah, there's a Jahess. And so when you read Proverbs chapter 8, starting with verse 22, you understand who the Jahess of Iration is. And she comes in with a very strong balance. Just like John 9 is reasoning, she lets you know from the very beginning, I was his daily delight. Before anything else was created, before the foundations were given on the earth, before the waters were given, before the firmament was created, I was before him daily. I was his delight, and there I was brought up with him. You understand? As one that was equal. So if you want to really touch the Empress's energy, if you really want to feel it, you're going to have to see her as equal to the majesty. I know for a lot of ones that's going to be difficult, but that's the only way we're going to transform into the members of the new race. Remember, His Majesty said that everything is going to shift. Ideologies are going to shift. What we thought we knew, even about gender and equity, all of that is going to have to mash and build forward again. And so for those who really want to connect with Empress Menen, read Proverbs chapter 8 and know who your mother is.
You know that I'm the reading Ras, so I have to pull up Proverbs 8 because I just sum it on. You understand?
Yes,
Proverb 8. And I also want to say that as a king man, we like the daily delight. So big up the delights them. All of the queen them. We love the part there. All right. So Proverb 22 says, Proverbs 8, verse 22 says, the Almighty brought me forth as the first of his works before his deeds of old. I was formed long ages ago at the very beginning when the world came to be. When there was no watery depths, I was given birth. When there were no springs overflowing with water, before the mountains were settled in place, before the hills, I was given birth. Before he made the world or its fields or any of the dust of the earth, I was there when he set the heavens in place. When he marked out the horizon on the face of the deep, when he established the clouds above and fixed securely the foundation of the deep, when he gave the sea its boundary, so the waters would not overstep his command, and when he marked out the foundations of the earth, then I was constantly at his side. I was filled with delight day after day. You see it there? Day after day. So every queen, when you have your king, man, is daily delights we are advocate for. All right. We continue. Rejoicing always in his presence, rejoicing in the whole world and delighting in mankind. Now then, my children, listen. To me, blessed are those who keep my ways. Listen to my instruction and be wise. Do not disregard it. Blessed are those who listen to me, watching daily at my doors, waiting at my doorway. For those who find me find life, and those who receive favor from the Almighty. But those who fail to find me harm themselves, and all who hate me love death.
Okay, the jazz match. That was very powerful. That's seal up right there. So if you don't find the Empress, if you don't understand who she is, that prophecy right there tells you that you love death. But those who find me and know me love life, and they receive favor from the Lord. So if you don't check for you ain't get to know favor. You understand? So yes, that's the fullness right there.
I love it. We're going up, family. That is what we do on this platform. Unapologetic Rastafari Pan-African content. Dr. Wolete, talk to I and I about the legacy.
The legacy of Empress Menen Asfa. You know, for I touch on her legacy in my work where she sits on the cover. I don't know if the eyes are able to see her central there. This is the work of Ras Daniel Hartman's son, Otto Roberts.
Big up Ras Otto.
Yes, and Nana Faraika and the others in this image, Ma Ashanti. This is charting the matriarchal shift in the Rastafari movement. This is the shifting that Rasses is talking about. This is the shifting that all of I and I observe taking place in Iration, documenting the Rastafari movement from such time to this time. And further, as Empress Menen sits on the cover of my soon-to-be-released third book, and this is the work of a brethren here in Baltimore. This is the artwork of Ras Melku. And this is what Janine talked about, the sacred vessel of the Rastafari woman. This is acknowledging that I and I are indeed living sanctuaries. And I'd like to just read about 4 lines, if I may. Chapter 6 speaks about the sacred essence of the Rastafari woman. The Rastafari woman is a unique opportunity and accolade onto herself. It is she who manifests the complexities of our existence and holds the power to balance the universe within the confines of her womb. Rise up, Ayatas of Zion. Rise up and take your place as the greatest invention of the 20th century. Thou art a living sanctuary. Central to the contemporary Rastafari liberty is the recognition of the sacred feminine principle, embodied in Empress Menen Asfa and the nurturing irit of Ionai's eternal and Ionai's divine mother. So in the Sacred Vessels Living Sanctuaries book, it really looks at the Rastafari woman through the acknowledgement of the sacred feminine divine of it within Empress Menen Asfa. And I seek to walk within those footsteps and to livicate Ionai's lives according to her perfect example. So this is the work, documenting and showing and leaving for the next generation who I and I are as Rastafari women and the glory of Empress Menen that I and I seek to emulate. So yes, give thanks.
Thanks, give thanks. Before we go any further, I want to check in with Empress Sinai, because right now it's way up in the hours in the UK. How are you feeling, my sister? You can go first if the I want to go first. If you have to leave, I want to be respectful of the time. If you're Irie, then we're gonna just go through the impact. But let I know I'm checking in with the I as my younger sister. How the I feeling?
I'm feeling energized. The energy on this live is it's amazing. It's everything that we need right now and more. My clock says 3 a.m. London time, but my heart says I'm staying put.
I love it. I love it. But we have to check in. That is the role of the Rastafari, man. We have to check in with the sister and make sure I say them Irie. You know what I mean? All right. We're going to seal up. This is the final. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We have reached the 2 hour mark, so I'm asking for a little brighter time. We have 100 people online. New record for the channel. We are going with things, Lion Pride. Clap yourself. You know what I mean? I really give thanks for everyone who showed up for this historic panel. And this is just up from here. Please, we're going to read some of the comments shortly, and we're going to get to Ras Ether Kamal question about the Empress Adito 1928. This is a blockbuster movie time, so we're going to get to that as well. But I want to just make sure that we touch the impact, just in case some of our guests have to leave. I want to be very respectful of everyone's time. So when I call these powerful sisters, they don't ignore me call. And then we can't find them again because it's a Ras, thing too long. So I'm trying to balance. Okay, family? All right. Rases, Dr. Jahzani Kush, talk to us about the impact of Empress Menen. And for this, let's go futuristic as well in terms of projecting the vision of where we want this to go, and the work that we have in front of us.
The impact of Empress Menen, I would say, can definitely be felt, amongst her daughters, particularly within the Blue Fire Order, I would say, because the sistrins who are part of the Blue Fire Order, whether they have just attended an retreat or they're actually a part of the order, are sistrins who are committed to living their lives according to her as Empress Menen as I role model. You understand? So from everything, I always say, there was a time when people used to wear bracelets that would say like, "What would Jesus do?" You understand? And so within our iris, everything from every action is what would the Empress do. You understand? So we've studied her life so much and we've tapped into her energy so much that we move very Menen-like. You understand? And that's very, very important. And in particular, when it comes to women's issues, you understand? Because Empress Menen saw it necessary to advocate for women. You understand? And so I continue along that trajectory. You always, we look into everything. In particular, we want to see our sistren in more leadership roles. You understand? But also being cognizant that there are various types of leaders, So you don't always have to be the sage on the stage, or you don't always have to be that leader who's out front. You can be a facilitative leader. You can be a distributive leader. You understand? There are different types. And so that's one of the things that we do with our sisters is that we introduce them to the variety of leadership types so that they can get in where they fit in. Because we know that the Rastafari nation, right, is in need of the Rastafari woman in leadership. It's very important. When His Majesty was speaking about leadership, he wasn't talking to men only. He was talking to I same way. He says that, women today are not content with being housewives. You understand? They're on the battlefield side by side, in times of war and distress. You understand? So we know that those frontline positions, right, need to be filled by all capable Rastafari, whether it be man or woman. So that's one of the things that, the focus is on right now. And I and I are thankful that our brethren, many of them are supportive, you understand, and are even willing to be led by women, just like we've been led by them, since 1930. You understand? So that's really where we are right now. And again, reaching out to the generation that's behind us so that we can pass the baton and that we can comfortably know that this legacy is in good hands.
Give thanks, mighty. And I want to big up Lich Tafari. He gave a $4.99 attribution. You can give an attribution to the platform through YouTube, or you can do Cash App, Zelle. We also accept Zelle. So if you want to support the platform, feel free. If you go through YouTube, know that them eat a big food off of it. So if you can do Cash App or Zelle, we would prefer you go that route. We'll put up the information shortly. But we are moving forward. Empress Sinai, talk to us about the impact.
I think the impact as well extends to like during the wartime. Empress Menen was very involved in mobilizing support, when Ethiopia was at war with Italy. And I think that as well is very significant in terms of her impact, just wasn't with being his Majesty's wife, but also, mobilizing and really using her voice where she could as well. I think that is really important. And I think she used her connections to rally allies as well to get support. And she was all for calling for peace as well, And I think that impact that you can be a woman, but also use your voice is part of her legacy as well. That you don't have to stay silent, that you can speak up, that you can contribute to things even when there is a war. That a war is traditionally looked at as a male dominated space where a woman is not needed or you can't contribute anything. And I think Empress Menen really spins that on its head. And I think we need to take that going forward, especially as a Rastafari community, is that any problems that we face collectively, globally as a community, is that the women can contribute to solutions for these problems. That we do have a voice, that we can be in leadership positions and help to eradicate some of the problems that our community face. So I think that's her legacy, is that the woman's voice is extremely powerful and can solve problems that are out there.
Give thanks, powerful. And part of that impact is Just Jah magazine. Right now we are showing our episode where we had a reasoning with Empress Sinai. And part of that, you'll see our goal is to get her at least 100 subscriptions, annual subscriptions from the Lion Pride family. So we're going to ask everyone in the Lion Pride, I think it's like $26 annually, US, for an annual subscription to Just Jah magazine. I want us to put the sister under some pressure to meet the demand. I like my little sister, but let's put her under some economic pressure. We have 32,000 in the Lion Pride. My vision is everyone just go pile on the subscription. Let us make this magazine be a premier magazine. No one is coming to save us. I want to reiterate that on every episode. And so we have to circulate our Rastafari Pan-African dollar among ourselves. And all of these sisters have works that can be supported. And again, if you can give $5, $10, let's get out of this. I have to give $100, $200 to support someone. Let us normalize the $5, $10 where we can. And if we have numbers doing that, then we're going to create sustainable businesses in our immunity. I was talking to Sister Katis first day, and she said, ask everyone to just put in $1 even, So if the sisters have a way where they can accept attribution of even $1 and you have 30,000 people give $1, that is going to make a difference. We've got to normalize this. We have been trained wrong because most of us, when we see someone doing something, we feel apathy. We, even though it's something that could help us, we just watch and then we go to Starbucks and we spend a $10 on a coffee. You know what I mean? And we don't think twice. But we wouldn't spend that $5-10 with our brethren or sister who we say Rastafari and a salute and one bag of joy. But we need to start circulate the dollar. So 100 subscriptions to Just Jah magazine. I think it's how many pounds if you're in the UK? How much pounds for an annual subscription?
So it's between 16 and 20 pounds, and then you'll get 4 issues for the year.
Give
so it comes
thanks.
out quarterly.
And then for the US, that's about, I think is about $26.
Yeah.
Canada would be something similar. That's nothing. So let us support Just Jah magazine and get those subscriptions. All right, that's my soapbox for this part. Dr. Asantewaa, talk to us about the impact.
Yeah, I really want to, from the heart, just say that Empress Menen has had a long journey with me, even though for a length of time I wasn't familiar with her story. I came into her story much later, really even after the birth of my first child. So, but all the time, if we look at how the feminine divine moves, I must have been in high school when I first said, I'm going to homeschool my children. I just knew the system wasn't working. I wasn't Rastafari at that point. I just knew that we had to break away and create this new reality that we have been harping on for so long. And I remember, like my parents saying, like, where did you hear that from? Like, that's not even a word we use. You know what I'm saying? And it just came from inside. And to date, 3 of them have been homeschooled to college. 3 of the 4 have been homeschooled to college from birth. And then also being a grad student and just saying, I'm going to home birth. That's what I'm going to do, and not knowing a soul who had ever done it, and being told that you were like clinically crazy to do something like that in a country with these state-of-the-art hospitals all around. Why would you do that? Not knowing anyone. I was 7 months pregnant and didn't have a midwife, and decided not to go the hospital route. And in Chicago, this is the home of the American Medical Association, and so all the midwives that practice here are underground and hiding. So it was just hard, and my heart was like, we don't want a European American midwife. We want a Black midwife. We're going to have sacred birth. I was insistent. I was out there like just fierce and misunderstood by everyone, and holding strong. We were able to find a Black midwife in the 8th month. Like, look how far we were into it. But my faith was like a mountain, and we had 4 successful home births. And we give thanks for that. That's not a story that everybody can say, but we were blessed. And that after the 3rd child, I was wonderfully blessed to meet the sister called Karen Hardy, or Empress Imani from Cleveland. A grand midwife, a homeschool, everything that I had said. And she was a Rastafari woman. How beautiful. And I mentored with her until she transitioned. And she's the one who first said, like, Empress Menen's picture needs to be the first picture you see in the morning. You need to have it where you see it, because you're using this energy. This energy is all around you, and you don't even have the name, right? And she was like, make sure, put it where you can see it. And where I taped it up, it's still there. And like she said, the first thing I see in the morning, so that you would begin to connect directly with this energy. So many things were born out of the mentorship that she and I, that she had with myself. I'll set puberty rights for girls. It was in that same season that we created Indigo Nation Homeschool Association to support African-American families on the homeschool journey, now in its 15th year here in Chicago, having been covered by the major newspapers all of that has happened, and we are incidentally in the fight of our lives here in Illinois and trying to stop this deadly platform that is being headed up by Democrats in this state to stop and censor African American families that want to homeschool. And we know that if we can kill that bill here, it won't spread like a virus to other states where they're saying they have the right to come to your house at any time and to ask you on demand for you to produce all of your paperwork, for you to show them exactly what you're teaching your children. This is a violation of our rights. We are fighting right now. So, stand in support with us. But this is a journey that I was on before I had a name for it, and coming into the life of Empress Menen, I realized, and I say this without equivocation, I am not on the fence with this. Empress Menen is the most powerful woman, Black woman, and really woman on the world stage in the 20th century. And she's dominating the domestic sphere. You can her children and grandchildren give ample and beautiful testimony to that. She is the wife supreme. The emperor name for her is in her biography. It is said that his name of affection, he calls her Tu. That's the name of affection that he had for her. And I think I heard Janine say that absolutely. When she called for his attention, he stopped all meetings. It didn't matter who was here and who wanted what. He halted all meetings to attend to her needs. He know that she wasn't coming for any light and trivial reason. Just the beauty of who she is. I think going even like Afrofuturistically, of African women remembering that our model cannot be the white woman. I don't have any enmity against them, but what they have set up is for themselves. They've had a long fight with their males, and they have set up things to protect themselves. And God bless them. But that is not what our model of development is. Empress Menen brings us a real original example coming from the heart of the continent. She's not saying I'm connected to Cleopatra. Cleopatra is the last in the line of dynastic Egypt. She's not just saying that. She's saying this is unbroken. I have a tradition that is unbroken, and I'm handing it to you. After the war was over, she said, in fact, I was calling on the women of the world before, but now I'm calling on the Black women of the world to help me build Ethiopia. She got to know who we were, and we got to know who she was. When she is honored in New York as Mother of the Year in 1958, where's that from? If she's unknown, she's not unknown. The people here know her and receive her, right? So I'm saying that she's all around. Even before we can articulate that this is the energy that I'm working with, something is motivating me and moving me in this way. Even for those who don't know, it is still there, and we can all pick it up. Excuse me, and we can all be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that it's not exclusive to Rastafari. It's for all Black women. And so that's where I am in my heart. That's why we do what we do here in Chicago every year. Whether Rastafari people show up or not, we continue to share that message with the people of Chicago. So give thanks.
Let me talk to my Chicago Rastafari family. Them need to forward the daughter them event and stop the foolishness. Please and thank you. All right. Empress Dionne, talk to us about the impact, the global impact.
Blessed love. Yeah. And I.
Yes, I. So I have to catch a flight and fly go Trinidad for hear it, So we have to take with time, family. That's how the technology work. Empress Dionne, tell us about the impact.
The global impact.
Highly.
Blessed, you all hear. Blessed love.
Rastafari.
Yeah, man. Talk, talk, talk. Go ahead, go ahead. I want to take time while Empress Dionne get it to big up my producer. You see the little Empress Menen emoji in the side of the thing? That is the producer. I rate that, because as we say, with a king, you have to have a queen. So big up the producer.
Hearing I now.
Yes, I block up Empress Dionne. Just talk
Oh,
about the
Jah
part.
Rastafari.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. We'll come forward to the eye. Don't worry yourself. Don't worry yourself. Give thanks for the patience, family. We are working it out. Trinidad family, you see the effort that we're putting in is because we love Trinidad. I tell you, I love my Trinidad family, my Lion Pride family. Put some emojis in the comment section, some fire. We need some prayers for break down the barrier of Wi-Fi the guy. Wi-Fi the guy is causing problems. It wants to start the show and it cannot start the show. This is Empress Menen show.
Blessed.
All right, continue. Can you speak, Empress Dionne? All right, all right. We're gonna come forward to the eye. Janine, talk to us about.
Rastafari.
Okay.
Yes. Impact.
Hold on there. Um, Go ahead. Go ahead.
Blessing. See Wi-Fi, the guy
Yes.
give him problem, so I will make it short and spicy.
Yes, please.
The impact of Her Majesty Queen Omi and in part is her power of prayer and gratitude. She was a prayerful woman. She was not afraid to bruise her knee first in everything that she did. So the power of prayer and being grateful, which is the power of gratitude, being grateful for God answering her prayer. She made a pilgrimage tour during the war. She said she would have dedicated her crown, and due to the power of prayer, she showed back that gratitude. After war, she never wore her crown that she was originally crowned with in 1931. So she showed back that gratitude to know that God did answer her prayer, and she was honest enough to go forth because she knew, she alone knew what she prayed for. So she didn't have to carry the crown, but the power of prayer and the power of gratitude made her the great woman that she was, that she is still, because due to the works that all I and I sisters here tonight doing, make her alive because of the works that we chose to carry on, which is her works, her her, her I don't just want to say righteousness or her works, but it is what have us how we are today as royal daughters, that have us believing in that dignified woman within us. So I give thanks for that, the power of prayer and the power of gratitude from our great mother, Black Queen Omega.
Give thanks. Give
Selassie
thanks.
Jah Rastafari.
Now the item can understand why Wi-Fi the guy a fight against Empress Dionne because the power of her
I know
soul.
I be in short certain times because Wi-Fi guy, you know. But
Too
yeah,
powerful.
give
You
thanks
took the
to all
smile
her
alone.
works.
The smile alone, Empress Dionne, and mad them out of road. Trust me. So give that. You see it there? They are fighting against that power of my sister. So give thanks. Janine, talk to us about the global impact.
Bless her.
Give thanks. Give thanks. Empress Dionne, there is no one fighting against you. There is nothing that could fight against you. Sometimes the thing pause for impact. We give thanks. Yes. Listen, sisters. Wow. Let me just take a breath because I am very overwhelmed right now. I know we're supposed to be talking about the impact, but the impact is right now. This I hope you all acknowledge right now, even in the celestial. Today is a Ivine day, and this which is happening where all of us are here together, this is a turning point, and what we do from here together is going to make a difference. Give thanks to our brother for bringing us together,
Give
but the work is
thanks.
now, the onus is now upon each of us to reach out to
Give
each other
thanks.
as women who honor the queen and the queen energy and that empress energy to do this work together. And they often like to say woman can't work together and all these things. But I love what Dr. Kush mentioned, where each of us may be called to leadership in a very different way. It is something that I have seen in my own life, where when you are a woman who is treading with a particular level of power, you step into a space and not everyone will respond to that positively, and you can't take it personally. You have to understand, say, people meet you from where they are, right? And so you have to be able to let it flow off of your back like a duck and still show love, right? And I give thanks for everything I have learned in this space, the impact for me. And as Sister Wadie mentioned, you may not know that you are being impacted by this energy, but that is also the metaphysics of it, where it is what is represented. It is in the same way. And it is such a powerful thing to have that divine representation of the balance, because Christianity has taken the divinity from womanhood. And race politics, which is something invented as well, that whole who is black and who is white, that is an invented principle by those who would perceive themselves as oppressors. We do not have to adopt it. Black woman is first. And Empress Menen, as the example of black woman first, is showing ultimate love and is being the example of that in a very powerful way. In today's society, when femininity is an aesthetic and it is the way you look, right? Even within Rastafari, we see that as well, where, you know, the wrap your hair and cover yourself does not mean that you are living in any particular way. You cannot look at someone and tell, but when you are in their presence or when you hear their words or see their works, that is how you know. Because when you see the queen, when you see Empress Menen, every photograph of her, it is calmness. And that is such a powerful impact to see a woman in her calm. She's not overly bubbly and trying to please everyone. She is in her calmness, which means if you are in your calmness, you are in your zero state. You are in that state where you are able to embody equanimity. You are not overly hype over anything. You're not overly sorrowful. You can maintain your equilibrium. You can observe and you can truly be of service, and you can truly embody your power when the time is necessary. So I have been impacted by that feminine energy, to say it is not about your outward appearance. It is truly about embodying those principles of compassion, of kindness, of service. And you don't have to always have a smile on your face, but you always have to have love in your heart, and that will show. Because sometimes these dangerous women with the big smiles on their face, the Americans call them the Karens, but you have the black Karen too. You have all of these people who they are not representing the feminine, but they are looking like females. And we know that you don't even have to be a woman to look like a female. right? So we have to, those of us who want to embody, we have a perfect example in Empress Menen. And so for those women who are doing that work, I think it is just important for us to do this work together. And that would make it easier for each of us. And I commit to giving strength wherever I can. We have to know what our skill sets are. We have to be in a space where we can speak as women collectively, know what our skill sets are, be willing to share, be willing to build together, be willing to empower. We have to move away the idea of money is a bad thing. We need to have some money. We need money circulating so that we can do the work, because you have to have the money to, and money is a frequency, so we don't have to be frightened by the word either. It will come, and sometimes it's us that blocking it. But when you're operating from a empress, from a queen space, you're not thinking about money from a place of lack. You're thinking about it as a frequency that you lean into, and it will flow. We have to remove the victim mindset from our minds, even though we are women and we have issues like domestic violence. We have issues, so many of those issues, of things being perpetrated against the feminine. We have to rise above it. We have to be so in control of the reality that we operate in, that there are certain conversations we don't let in, certain doubt we don't let in, certain conversations that are foundational almost to the Rastafari movement that we have to abandon in order to move forward and do the work that is necessary. So this is the impact. When I look at this fiery Aries woman and I see her with her calmness and her unapologetic nature and doing what she needs to do and knowing she has, because of the type of man that she has attracted into her life. Yeah, that is the confidence I would love to see for my sisters. So I charge my brothers and sisters to learn from that example.
And I want to thank the eye for sharing your time with us, Jahzani. And I see the eye with the baby there, mothering, and that is part of the divine feminine. That we are able to share as a village, a global village. And one of the things I said to Jahzani is I want her to be regular on this platform, because I want her to feel the love of the Rastafari woman all over the earth, because
since you said that, stick up in, I would love to host a conversation. We can use this platform too, but with these women here, because I have a different set of questions.
Man, definitely. And it's mandatory. I want all of the items to interact. I don't have to be there. I can watch too. And I mean, I'm very happy to just be a connector. And I think everyone should feature on each other's platform. That's the ecosystem that we want to develop and to build. So I was very intentional about this panel, inviting the ones them in this panel, because I wanted to ensure that these sisters connect, because all of them are so powerful. That being said, I just want everyone, if you love Jahzani music, put some emoji in the chat. If you were inspired by Jahzani, make her feel some of the love, lion pride, and don't embarrass her, because put it in the chat. All right, while that the emojis come through in the chat, let's go to Dr. Wolete. Dr. Wolete, talk to us about the global impact.
Yes, greetings, give thanks. So the global impact, I are charged with becoming members of a new race. Part of that new race membership is acknowledging the role that Empress Menen plays within I's lives as Rastafari, as the Rastafari faithful, and there's a shift in the way that I view Empress Menen, within the Blue Fire Order, and I venerate the Empress, and I acknowledge her as Ivine, as an Ivine balance for His Majesty. Rases Jahzani says that if there's a Jah, there's a Jah-S. If there's an emperor, there's an empress, So definitely, I believe the forward trajectory for the Rastafari movement is to first go to that place and to come to what I call the reckoning, the overstanding that Empress Menen Asfa is the divine balance of Kadamawi Haile Selassie I. You know, and acknowledging that is indeed a shift within the Rastafari livity as I have known it. You know, have known it and have come to know it. This is going to require some deep work. You know, this is going to require some deep work and some rewriting, you know, coming up within the Nyabingi order. And I have seen, I believe, 2 rewritings of the Nyabingi guidelines, or at least a formal rewriting of the Nyabingi guidelines. I and I are not above change and growth and development. You know, this is what Kadamawi Haile Selassie I has taught I and I. And I saw slavery be abolished in Ethiopia, child marriages be abolished, doing away with all of the things that are unjust, right? And bringing in the new. So I and I can't be stiff-necked and stubborn. You know, and I have to be honorable and righteous and obedient. And part of that obedience is looking at what has been presented to I and I, even by Kadamawi Haile Selassie I himself, on November 2nd, 1930, when His Majesty crowned Empress Menen alongside himself. It was her 3rd title. She also is Triple Crown. She's Triple Crown also, just like His Majesty is Triple Crown. But the crowning on the coronation, November 2nd, 1930, was a complete change and a reversal of what had been standard. And it was very deliberate and it was very purposeful. And I cite that as the moment that Kadamawi Haile Selassie I declared to the world, you know, the role of Empress Menen, you know, who she is and what she represents, not just to him, but to all of humanity. So I believe that the legacy, the impact, it is moving in this trajectory, moving towards this new race mandate and acknowledging that I and I serve a living Jah and a living Jah-S. You know, there's everything balanced in iration, the flowers, the birds, all of the animals. And I chant the chant, 2 of every kind was saved in the ark. There's no imbalance in iration. Everything is balanced, you know? So just recognizing that and acknowledging that, I think, is the beginning of the new Rastafari. This is the trajectory. This is the trajectory that leads to repatriation. This is the trajectory that leads to a greater and brighter future for continental Africa. And I are charged with this task. So, you know, workers in the vineyard, Rastafari faithful, and I accept, and I shall abide and obey. I give thanks and Isis. Haile Selassie I and Empress Menen Asfa.
Give thanks for all who are watching, who are sharing. We're going to seal up, but I want to seal up with a blockbuster film. Ras Kamal asked about the story of Empress Menen when she came to the aid of Rastafari when he was imprisoned by Empress Wadie. Some troublemakers rise up in the palace. I'm going to allow my sister to tell the story for those who are not familiar. This is why Rastafari independent media has to be funded, because these are stories we want to see in animated feature film, live action film. We have to glorify these moments and create content around these moments, comic books, all these little types of content that can be written about the story and the life and the example. That's a whole book by itself, could just be about this saga. You know what I mean? So we have a lot of work to do, but is Babylon gonna fund these projects? I want us to ask ourselves these questions honestly, and if not, why are we not supporting the media that has the vision to do it? What are we waiting for? Are we waiting for someone who's going to have pity on us or give us money to liberate us? Janine, you want to say something?
I wanted to change that narrative. I
All
wanted to
right.
say that in a different way. I
Talk
wanted
to
to
us.
speak with anticipation and excitement about all that is about to be possible after today. I want you to speak. We have advancements in artificial intelligence and graphic generation. There are things that were not possible. And because we have a legacy of complaining about what cannot be done, we might sometimes forget that the young people are interested, and sometimes it is that we don't know how to ask for the things we want, because things that must be done, sometimes the way is already being created. So let us speak with that kind of authority as we go forward. Let us be very mindful of our words as we ask and put things out there, and not introduce doubt as we move from such a powerful gathering. I agree.
I accept the correction from my sister. I'm willing to be instructed. Those who know, I know that doubt are not part of my thing, but I accept it because I plead with my people because I'm passionate about what I want to see. And I just experienced a failure. I was trying to get 100 people in my Patreon, John 9, by April 1st. It never worked out for I. But I also teach to the brethren that failure is a part of the journey and that you set goals. Sometimes you meet them, sometimes you don't meet them, but we cannot fear failure. So when I plead, sometimes the word sound might not be exact. So I love and this is the divine feminine. She said, brother, lift up yourself, your sound, you know what I mean? Vibrate higher on the frequency. And this is why we need our sisters around us, because they help to sharpen us to see that kingly nature within inside of ourselves. And that is what Empress Menen did for His Majesty. All right, so who wants to lead off setting the stage of this epic scene of Empress Menen? Get your ital snacks. If you have a little sacrament, go for it now and light up your steamers.
I've heard Asantewaa say that before.
Okay,
I've heard her block that about the.
No, she's itching. She's itching in the corner there. I see her up there. Me know. Me assure her the alley oop. Me know is who. All right, give us the history, please.
Well, give thanks. And then I want everyone to add to this story, because everyone, has their way of seeing it. But just basically laying some of the historical foundations for what happened. We know that His Majesty was extremely progressive when he came as an advisor, really, to Empress Wadie II, not yet crowned king, but was prince. And there was rumors about him going to the throne. But because he was making so many changes within Ethiopia, he had also traveled around the world and asked important questions where he was, like, for example, the constitution that he would eventually set up in Ethiopia, they first witnessed in Japan. They looked at the way the Japanese constitution was set up, with the knowledge of the emperor still present as part of the constitution. So just really progressive, really a growth mind. And some of the advisors to Empress Wadie II was uncomfortable with the steps that he was taking, and felt like they had to stop him, or what they understood as the Ethiopian throne was threatened. So one day, as he enters the palace grounds, he is seized, and he is essentially jailed inside the palace walls. And word gets to Empress Menen that your husband has been seized and is held against his will inside the palace walls. And here you have like Time Magazine reporting this. You have her grandson also reporting parts of the story. You get various news outlets, but no one tells it in its detail. So it's up to us to imagine, really, Kwasi, like to put the granular level in. But what is said is that, oh, she amasses an army. Now, please remember that as Dr. Beresford has said, she is the daughter of a very prominent, a granddaughter of a very prominent regional king, and he has a standing army. His army is so strong that he can take on the national army, and he does when he believes that his son has not been given the right to the throne. He actually challenges His Majesty with his army. So Empress Menen had her consort of guards. And she gathers them like, no, ain't no way. We gonna get him out this palace. We gonna bum rush now. Haile Selassie, as I said, at that time had relationships with people around the world. And one of the Italians who he had relationships with left a tank for him in his care in Ethiopia. Now, who knows where the keys was except Empress Menen? She had that fired up. Now, there is no record that she drove it herself, but that she commandeered it. And she said, break down the wall if necessary. We're going in to take Haile Selassie out. We also get other accounts that he he exited as she was coming in. So we don't quite know if she broke down the wall or if he was coming out or she was heading in to get him. What we know is that she delivered him. And not only that, she talked to Empress Wadie too and persuaded her that he must be crowned king. So as we're talking about Ascension Day, understand the power. The influence behind Ascension Day was Empress Menen. She was like, no, not only are you going to free him and allow him to continue to bring changes to Ethiopia, you are also going to crown him king. And that's going to be formalized. And these demands were met. Yeah. And so we really see a powerful story. As you said, you see the making of a full feature-length film here. Once we have to kind of, flush it out, but the story is here. All of the ingredients of a great story is here.
Give thanks, give thanks. Anyone want to add to that story? I would add that the army that she most likely mobilized was His Majesty Private Army. One of the seminal moments in the history you can read about in the autobiography is when he attends Ras McConnell's funeral as a child at the age of 13. And there is a lot of concern because Ras McConnell army refuses to disperse to the Harar. In those days, the armies would camp in fields. There were huge fields around Addis Ababa, and all of the regional standing armies of the kingdoms came to pay their homage to the death of Ras McConnell, who was a noble. And Ras McConnell army happened to be one of the most powerful armies because it incorporated the Oromo cavalry from out of Harar. These are famous horsemen that were renowned to the world for their skill on horseback, and they distinguished themselves at the Battle of Adwa under Ras McConnell's leadership. So His Majesty, came to pay homage, and before he died, Ras McConnell asked his officers. He brought his officers into his chambers and had them swear allegiance to the young Tafari. So they would serve nobody else but His Majesty. So when at the age of 13 he came to the city, Menelik, all of the nobles were concerned, like why these people won't leave. They sent Tafari out there to see why they wouldn't leave, and they told him, young man, you are our master. We're not going anywhere without the eye. And so His Majesty, because he didn't want to create destabilization in Addis Ababa, he led them out of the city forward to Harar. So the prophecy when it says a child shall lead the way, was fulfilled when this young 13-year-old, I remember His Majesty is already small, he's 5 foot little bit, so by the time he was 13, he's a little child looking with this most powerful army at his beck and command, and His Majesty commanded like a general because he was not a regular youth. So it created awe. They said all of the people of Addis came out to see this procession as he led the army out of the city. So these same soldiers would have been loyal to His Majesty throughout his reign. So, of course, loyalty to His Majesty would have been conferred to Empress Menen. As Asantewaa said, there may have been people from Wallo, because she would have had her own retainers and ones who came to deal with her private security that were from her family lineage. So they were sitting on one of the most powerful armies. The first warplane in Ethiopia was brought in by His Majesty, used in that same battle that, when Ras Mikael, Empress Menen's family, stormed Addis, one of the seminal wars for the throne. The first warplane was used in that fight. So they had considerable resources. But what the story shows is that Empress Menen was in full command, and that those soldiers who would not follow anyone obeyed Empress Menen command. So she showed, as my sister, my big sister would say, extensive, what do you call it? Emergency leadership. What you call that term there? Huh? The fancy word when you use.
Exigency leadership.
Exigency leadership. Professor, So she demonstrated that in that moment. And again, it said that the doors flew open at the palace, when she came with the tank and all of that. It was a dramatic moment, and said His Majesty didn't even look back. He just walked straight to the door before the door opened, and they just flew open the door because they were afraid about who was outside. So it was a whole dramatic scene, you know what I mean? Does anyone want to add to that before we seal this historic reasoning? And then I'm going to give each guest a chance to do their final word sound. Any other points to add? And also I would add, I want every guest to say how people can spend some money with them. Lion Pride, and I big up all of the people who have contributed to the platform during this. It's the most contributions we've ever had. So this is a new day for Rastafari Independent Non-Aligned Media. We're humbled on behalf of the entire team. We do give thanks. But it's not just I alone, family. I want them spend some money with each and every sister. So sister, after you say your last word on Empress Menen, share how this audience and the thousands that will see this to come can put money in your pocket, so we circulate this Rastafari dollar. We're changing the paradigm. We are supporting each other. No one is coming to save I and I, family. We keep on saying that we have to love each other enough to pour into each other in truth and in rights. This is a new day, and we celebrate Empress Menen Earth Strong and the ascension of His Majesty to the highest throne today. And so this marks a crossroad of the Rastafari family globally, and tonight will be remembered in the history. So we give thanks. So final word song, we start with Rasses, Dr. Jahzani Kush. Just give us your final words on how they can support Lalibela Institute, the powerful work they're doing. I'm going to call each of these sisters in a couple of days, and if they have not increased financially, I'm going to be upset, Lion Pride family. Don't embarrass I. Please. We have guests, we have company. Don't embarrass I. Give them, spend some money with them. All right, Dr. Jahzani.
Yes, I would like to encourage each and every one, whether it's the Rastafari woman or the Rastafari man, to go deep within and connect with the Empress. I think for the safety you overstand of I and I family as Rastafari woman, this energy that the Empress encompasses is a very sacred and powerful energy. It's needed in every family. So I'm asking for the Rastafari woman and Rastafari man to tap in, because I really don't see I progressing to the next stage unless I connect with I Divine Mother. One way that one can support I is by purchasing the books that I've written. Let me see if I could. Probably can't see it that good, but this is the first book, right? Roaring Lionesses, and I think you should read them in order of sequence. So this is the first book, and this book deals with the story of the Rastafari woman in her own voice. All right, and then the second book is entitled Blue Fire: The Ascension of the Jah within Rastafari. And then finally, the third book is Between the Fire and Ice, and that is the love story, the Rastafari love story. So if ones are interested, I would ask them to please go to my website, which is lalabellainstitute.org, or you can go to lalabellainstitute.com. Either one of the websites will take you right to my books. Also to other blue fire items that I have prayer candles, I have spiritual baths, I also have a very, very ileful scent, a fragrance that was created called Menen 130 in honor of Empress Menen's 130th Earth Light. So if ones are interested, just reach out to I via I website, and I will be, pleased to reason with the I, Rastafari.
Give thanks, give thanks. So make sure you support. You see the information on the bottom of the screen. Press pause, write it down, put some money in her pocket. Give thanks, Empress Sinai.
Greetings. I think going forward, what we should be doing is amplifying Empress Menen's work within our community. We need to be documenting stuff a lot more, and it's been really refreshing to see and hear that the Empresses are writing books and stuff about their own experiences. So I think collectively as a community, we need to be making sure we're archiving stuff. We are speaking to our elders, we are recording interviews with them so that we have a timeline of history of who we are and the impact Empress Menen has had, not just us on this call, but the elders that came before us as well. So that's what I would say we should be doing going forward. I think also how people can support me. Like you mentioned, I have a print magazine called Just Jar Magazine. We've now got 6 issues, which is available on my website, which is www.justjarmagazine.com. So this was the first issue that we did honoring Ras Daniel Hartman. We've also got an issue honoring His Majesty. We've got an issue honoring King Emmanuel, Charles Edwards. And we've also got an issue, our last issue, celebrating Queen Amiga from Trinidad and Tobago. So all those magazines are available on our website, and we ship globally. So it doesn't matter where you are, we will get them to you. So give thanks for the reasoning and the gathering. It's been so uplifting. One love and Rastafari.
Give thanks. 100 subscriptions we want from the Lion Pride family. $26 US. Let us make it happen. And I think it's $15 to $20, 20 pounds or something like that. So let us put her under some supply and demand pressure, family, because she's doing powerful work. Trained journalist, certified. So she worked for London's only black newspaper or publication, The Voice. So this is what she does, and she's has her business that she owns for the community. I told her I want to see her full time with a staff. That's my prayer for I sister. You know what I mean? So until I see that, I am campaigning for my sister, who I just met. All right? All right. Janine, please, final sound and how the ones them can support the eye.
Again, so honored to be among you, amazing, amazing, amazing women. Final sounds. I don't know if there's anything left to be said. It has been said all. Please support everything these women are doing. It is so important to get the word out, and they are doing the writing. And writing right now is so crucial. We are in a society where people don't read. So a lot of times I put to you, please make audio versions of all of the things you're writing as well, so that people can get the audiobook version. We need the audiobook version of His Imperial Majesty's autobiographies. We need the audiobook version of your book as well, my brother. We need to have that. We need to invest in that and get that out there, because that is how it's done. We need to learn the current science of marketing, because sometimes it is not that people are not interested, but there is such an overstimulated audience that we are selling to, or we are sharing with, that they don't even know that it is present. So sometimes it is how you present the thing. You have to know how to present it. There is a science to it, and there is so much waiting for us on the other side of just doing that part of the work. And not everybody's going to know that science. So those of us who do, we need to collectively work together to make the thing more attractive to those who need it the most. Yes, and it is not watering a thing down. It is putting the thing where it is needed. We really, really need to do that, because this work is so crucial. More honor to each of you women in all of your platforms. As far as I am concerned, we are making more music. Please bear with me if you see the evolution of the sounds and it makes you a little, what's going on? It is all a part of how I am inspired, and nobody else was there when I was getting it. Was not a conference call. They called in that I got to do my work. So please trust and believe we are doing as we are inspired. Yes, and there is a place for that discussion about the brothers and the sisters and how we connect with each other, because it is all well and good to go out there in the streets and march and do all of this hard, fighting against the system, and then you go home and there is no peace in your home. Your women are suffering silently. They feel unheard and unseen, and they do not have any love. There is no compassion in their relationships. They have no opportunity to express their softness. So my final word would just be, give the daughters the space to be in their highest feminine self. And as Sister the Dr. Kush said, if we can all just channel that energy of Empress Menen, then these things will be revealed to us in a real way in our lives and in our bodies. Soften, do the work, do the breath work, do the work of meditation, prayer, whatever words you use, whatever semantics you use, bring yourself down to that state of calm that is embodied in our Royal Empress. How you can support me? There are many works to come, things that I will not speak of now, because sometimes they must start the things them until they are ready. So things to come, please follow me on all of the social media platforms. It's Janine Online. If you want to email me and talk to me further, janineonline@gmail.com. My website has, if you are interested in the music and so on, and you want to purchase merchandise, you can go there, buy a t-shirt, spend some money. You want to send me a Zelle, it's at janineonline. It's janineonline@gmail.com there as well, because we're doing the work and we're going into our pockets. In 2020, we did the Note to Self Challenge before, which is a personal development challenge. We spent thousands of dollars and gave it away for free, because it's so it have to go sometimes. You just have to. But sometimes you have to replenish and circulate. So as far as you are able to support, please do so for all of these women. This is an amazing opportunity that you all have to see all of these women together, all of us together, and it will not be the last time.
No, and when Janine is ready to host them on her platform, she will let I know, and I will let the Lion Pride know, so we can crowd up over there to and support.
And my platform together your platform, so you make sure you know what we're talking about. We're gonna do this. It's gonna be beautiful.
And we're talking behind the scenes, I and my sister, so there's a lot of collaboration that's gonna be happening, family. we're gonna hug up Janine and make sure she feel the love from the Rastafari Pan-African family. And as I said, she is one of the greatest songwriters Jamaica's ever produced. And if you want to war with me, go in the comments and make me and you war me fight for that. All right. All right. So Rasses, Doctor Wolete, my traveling partner, Battlefield,
Aye.
schoolmate, big sister. Talk to I.
Yes, sir. Battlefield tested.
Battlefield tested.
Aye. Yes, I really just want to say these few words to the viewers and to everyone, give thanks for the gathering. It was very mighty. So joyful to be in the company of such royal ayatas and to learn of the mighty work that is taking place across the board. But I want to say to ones and ones something that I'm known for saying, and that is to obey is better than sacrifice. To obey is better than sacrifice. How could a one support I? I'm not so prominent on social media, but I am on Facebook at Wolete Netfa. Did as much Kwasi is the I gonna stream it?
I want to apologize. My producer had to run out to pick up my daughter, so I'm not technologically savvy. But I'll make sure it's in the description. We'll put it in the description.
Okay.
So when you watch this, it'll be in the description. You'll be able to.
Okay. All right. So it's Wolete Netfa on Facebook. It's Yeshimabet Books and Things on Instagram. And email can be lovefire, LOVEFYAH @yahoo.com. That's how the eyes can get the books. The only book written about His Majesty's mother. And maybe on the platform, Sister Janine and I can talk about how His Majesty gave I this direct assignment to write this book about Yeshimabet Ali Abba Jafar. And also the book on the Rastafari woman as the living sanctuary. Own your place as a living sanctuary, Rastafari women. Demand that the eye is acknowledged as a sacred vessel. Empress Menen teaches I and I this. And also read about the matriarchal shift. The matriarchal shift that I and I are seeing taking place, not to be confused with feminism or anything negative, but a natural shift, just the earth reclaiming its original positioning. Okay, so give thanks on Isis, give thanks to Jazmach Kwasi, Mighty Lion Voice Network. Once again, Rastafari, love and light.
Give thanks. I want to thank the I. I always have to thank the I publicly because Mama Wolete will call I and, yeah, man, you see that thing there, and always encourage I with a kind word. And one of the most brilliant sistren, one of my co-hosts for the IDOR study group. We do have a bi-weekly study group where we go through the speeches of His Majesty that we've been doing on Zoom. So we can share that link in the comments as well for those who want to join us in there. But so much powerful works Dr. Wolete has been doing over the years, and we really just want to lift up the eye in terms of the work. I cited her book heavily in my book, and it's The Birth of His Majesty. So she was one of my sources because, as she said, there's very little research on Yeshimabet, and she and Asantewaa went to Ethiopia and actually went to Wollo, researched the archives and brought out a lot of key information on the ground as academics and scholars. So both of them have, when you hear Dr. Asantewaa and Mama Wolete reason, you don't really hear that type of reasoning anywhere else because they're on the ground going through the stacks in the library, pulling out documents. They didn't even talk about Empress Menen properties when they looked through
Her
the
land, yes. So
land
it's
and
not
all.
enough time.
There's not enough time. There's no
All of
mental
the
reasoning. And if I
checks
keep
and
this panel
facts
too long, I'm gonna be in
of
trouble. Yeah.
receipts for the land, all of that land that Empress Menen came with to the marriage, to the union, like entire regions of land with her seal, her stamp, the Menen stamp, the seal. Yes, really, really just
Powerful. And we'll
mind.
do a episode maybe on your and Asantewa's research and just go
Okay.
deeper into what the item brought forward.
Yes.
Empress Dionne, give us your final sound, Empress Dionne, and how ones can support the eye. Spend some money with the eye and the eye works if you have any works, or if not, Empress Menen Rising. How ones can support Empress Menen Rising. So I have to take a play. Just take your time. Okay. Empress Dionne, final sound. Unmute.
Blessed.
Aile, final sound.
Blessed loves. Give thanks to sit among such power voices, Rastafari daughters, representative for Empress Menen Rising, and you can find us. Give thanks to be part of the Council of Elders who also do that humbly and as simple as possible, Give thanks for all loved ones, tune in, and I am I sell homemade wine, and it is for a charity called Keeping Mama Visible, which is keeping the works of Empress Menen visible. So give thanks for all her works in all small ways possible, that every small thing can make a large impact and a great. I want everyone to know that we are all gods and goddesses just having a human experience, So give thanks for all loved ones being here. Blessed love.
Royal greetings and blessings and big up the entire Empress Men and Rising collective.
Yeah, I
We're
am
gonna
them
have
here, man.
them. We're gonna have them on the platform. We hear the eye loud and clear. Give thanks, and we're gonna
Blessed.
we're gonna seal up with Dr. Asantewaa upon Wadie. Give us your final sound and let us know how we can support the eye.
Yes, I give thanks. I just want to say that Empress Menen had a beautiful earth trod. It has been the reward of my life to do the historical and archival work on Empress Menen. I never get tired. It's some of my most protective possessions are the things that I found on her, and the unbelievable connection. And I would like to just acknowledge the people from Chicago who tuned in. So that's so wonderful to see their names popping up in the comments. Thank you. I just want to say that at the end of her Earth trial, like, probably she didn't know, but she was an older empress at that point, and she began to say, like, look at all these lands that I have, and I have taxed these lands for the duration of my time on the throne. And it is time to do something different. Tabitha said, I did a new thing. Empress Menen did a new thing. She gave the land to the people who had been paying her taxes to live on it. She made them land owners overnight. To go from someone who rents and pays taxes to be an owner in Ethiopia was revolutionary, in the 1960s. And she did that for hundreds of families who lived on her crown lands. She made them landowners. She gave them Ethiopia. I like the things that I learn about her. I just fill up. My cup fills up and runs over. Um, and different people have their feeling about her transition services, but actually, that is the most documented thing we have on her are her transition services and all the letters that poured into Ethiopia at the point of her transition. But one of the things that really stays with me is the speech of His Majesty at her transition services, where he says, I want us all to go out and do what Empress Menen was about. Be about her. You know what I'm saying? But then he also talks about the united love that they had together for Ethiopia. And he said, none of you all knew her better than I did. We are all here crying. But may God accept these tears as the payment for peace in Ethiopia. Because he said, may God accept these tears as the payment for peace in Ethiopia. That if there was anything that was meaningful to them, it was to maintain Ethiopia as sovereign, as whole, and as thriving. And they would give the love they had for each other for that. And he said in those moments that I'm washed, I'm taken, I'm hurting on the inside, but may this be payment for this country that we love, that we have fought tireless for. And may you go forward and do what Empress Menen was about, So everything I learned about her just fills me with that kind of, goosebumps and, chills all over. So yeah, I continue in that way. And I encourage all of our listeners to continue in that way. Many of you all know the Empress Menen Chronicles. We have brought it back or forward as a hardcover book this time. Many people talk to me about the wear and tear that the softcover took. This is a hardcover made much larger as a table book. We wanted you to feel her as you open it. We wanted you to open to softness, so we changed the texture of the pages. We wanted to sit on the center table in the living room. We want the little ones to open it without fear. It could be wiped right back off if they have like sticky hands. We want them to ask, who is this? We want them to fall in love. We want them to hear the story from our perspective. So this is now available at menenchronicles.com. We also want to increase the lifestyle brand. That not only do we talk about this, but we be about it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to wear Louis Vuitton. He got his audience, but that's not what I'm about. You know what I'm saying? I wanted more things that had our names, our signature on it. So working with a Ethiopian leather worker, a woman-owned businesses, we have put out the Empress Menen purse with her name and her signature crown on it. We also have put out her wallet with her name and the tibib. And this is something I'm just learning. This is languaging. Empress Menen wore very specific tibib. That is the embroidery at the bottom of the dress and on the sleeves. These all have language. There's only certain designs that royalty wears. And you actually have the Menen fabric, right? Fabric that is named after Empress Menen because of the standard that she kept. So we brought the tibib in here. I'm still learning the language of it. And we have a 3-part per set coming from Ethiopia, directly from Ethiopia, from work people in Ethiopia. This coming out for our 10th year anniversary. All of this is not up right now, but will be up by the 19th, the day of our programming here in Chicago. at www.menenchronicles.com. That's the best way to reach us. Also, what like the sisters in Atlanta and other places have told me, the sisters from Milwaukee, that the timeline helps you so much. Empress Menen's life is so vast that you can like lose track of when did she do this church and what church. We tried to make that plain. We tried to make that accessible for all. So that is also will be available at menenchronicles.com. And so we hope that you go there, peruse, and find what piece of this will best suit you. I appreciate love this opportunity to speak with so many illustrious personalities. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Give thanks to Jahzani Kush, Rastafari.
Asantewaa say, you talk about ready? You really ask me if me ready? You see how many products she have. Let us put this doctor under some economic pressure, family. I like pressure them. Sell out the thing them, so she have to call her supplier and say, look here, man, we need more purse and bag. And right now them a talk about a thing named Birkin bag. Who make Birkin? We don't care. We have Empress Menen bags, family. So let us support the Empress Menen purses. King man, that is a good gift. You know what I mean? And I'm sure if you purchase those type of gifts, your Empress will be happy. And whole heap of daily delights will be a part of the gift giving. You see? Yes, it's a joy, family. We're coming together. We are crashing the stereotypes. We are building a community here. If you like what you have seen here, join us in the Lion Pride on Patreon. My Lion Pride on Patreon is here. You've seen them commenting. These are my economic engine. They contribute monthly. And we're going to be doing a lot more power panels like this, some with brethren and sistren, some with just brethren, some with just sistren. So look out for the combinations. This is my joy. This is my passion. My glad bag has bust tonight. I tell you, this is like a dream come true that I'm manifesting here. On my Earth Strong, I had the Honorable Priest Kailash, Bingi Shan, and First Man, all brethren who run Rastafari spaces. That was a power panel. So we're going to be doing more type of themed panel presentations like this, so that we can show the power that we have as a people and some of the thing. Hold on, somebody has a question here. What is her IG? I'm assuming you're talking about Dr. Asantewaa. If everyone on the panel can just put their information in the chat one more time. I'm asking forgiveness. My daughter has a rites of passage. She was getting her locks done, and the queen had to go out and pick her up. Family things. We're a family channel. We can be transparent. So my producer had to leave and go and pick up my daughter. So I am not able to do the scrolling. She was inputting the information and doing the scrolling. So if everyone can put their contact in the chat, and we'll have it in the description. So when you watch this on the replay, you just go to the description, press the three little button, the three little dots, and it will open up, and you will get all of the panelists' information and contacts and links will be there. I want to thank all of the items. This was a 3-hour plus marathon. Give thanks for all of the panelists for staying with us. Again, this is, as my sister Janine said, this is a line in the sand. This is the unity that we're talking about. This is the unity does not mean uniformity. All of these sisters are different houses, mansions, some not in any house or mansion. What unites us is the love of Kadamawi Haile Selassie I and was zero. Empress was zero Menen. And that is what is going to bring us to that redemption, that repatriation, that liberation. We have a role to play on the uprising of the African continent. We see what's happening in the Sahel region with our brothers and sisters in Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, Togo just a join up, Morocco put in their bid, Chad come on stream. Rastafari has to be there. setting the culture. The average age on the continent is 17 years old. So it's a continent full of youth, 1.5 billion people, and all of them love Rastafari. So we need to be there with a strong, not just the sound now, but with the institution building, with the content, with the mindset, you know what I mean, to make a difference. And we are part of that uprising. My sister, Just Jah Magazine, and the rest of the Rastafari independent non-aligned media. I saw Ija Star in the chat. Big up yourself, Ija Star. Our next YouTube channel, go subscribe to Ija Star. Go subscribe to Honorable Priest Isaac. Go subscribe to Honorable Priest Kailash. Go subscribe to iYard Radio. Big up yourself, Breadlocks. I saw there in the chat earlier. Go subscribe to Yard Real. Big up Ras Iron. Go subscribe to, I'm going to miss some people, but I'm just calling out Rastafari TV, Sister Fanai. Big up yourself. All of the platforms are Elder Muta Baruka. All of the platforms need our strength. So if you don't like I am chat too much, I can accept that. Go support another Rastafari independent media platform. We all are rising together. You're going to see more collaborations, more attributions, and we are going to not stop. Why? Because the time has come for the lions and the lionesses to tell our own story. And this is the lion's voice, Rastafari.
The time has come for the lioness to tell her own story.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari live it. Hey, the lion's voice. Rastafari.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the lion's voice.
This is Mama Thea of Asli Pure, and when I want to hear the story from the lion and the lioness, I listen to Lion Voice with Ras Tafari Women.
Greetings, I'm Sister Aisha Diana Conwood, currently the Assistant Commissioner of Agriculture for the U.S. Virgin Islands. Time for the lioness to roar. You know, this is the lion's voice. Lioness, let's roar, lion pour.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jah soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up lamb's voice. Now put it. I jolly for say that.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.